What up, everybody? Good morning and a very happy Thursday, May 15th, to all of you. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios here this morning. A big thanks for tuning in. However, you're tuning in, if it's from the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also online, streaming it up at sportstalk1051.com. Got the app, download it, take it on the go. Tell Alexa, play WAYY. Video streams also up and rolling. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. But multiple different ways for you to be tuning in wherever, however, this morning and whenever. So what do we got on the game plan for us here this morning? NFL schedule officially released yesterday. So Packers fans, or whether you're a fan of a different team, doesn't matter. What's your reaction? What's your thoughts on how the schedule is laid out? Again, we knew the opponents. We knew who was going to be home and away. But now that it's laid out, what are your first thoughts? What are your impressions on the schedule? I mean, you're opening up against the Lions at home for the first time since 2018. Packers will be hosting a home opener, and then it's a quick turnaround. You got a Thursday night game for week 2 at home, where they will be welcoming Jane Daniels and the Commanders. Then a couple road games at Cleveland, at Dallas, early bye week this year, week 5 bye week. And then right after that, it's home against Cincinnati, a couple road games, Arizona, and then Pittsburgh week 8. Will it be going up against one Aaron Charles Rodgers? Carolina, Philly at home, on the road to New York. Then again, the opening weekend of deer season. I don't know how many times, but I feel like this has happened how many flipping times now? It's Minnesota. I mean, I could think of multiple games for that first weekend, that Sunday. It's been Minnesota in Green Bay, for crying out loud. But yeah, there you have it. Don't let Vikings fans fill up Lambeau Field, people. But you got that one, and then they'd play on Thanksgiving, another Thursday game, short turnaround, going up against the Detroit Lions, then Chicago, then at Denver, at Chicago, and then finishing up with Baltimore, and then at Minnesota. So what's some of your first impressions? I'll tell you mine. Early bye week. You got a week 2 Thursday game already. I think it's a good opportunity for the Packers to start off on a good note, going up against some NFC teams, but it's also an opportunity for them to dig themselves an early hole. Pittsburgh is, of course, a primetime Sunday night game because, well, I think they're all preparing for a certain somebody to play for them too. But those final 7 games, ooh, I mean, that's a tough stretch when you start off with Minnesota, at Detroit on a short week, Chicago, at Denver, Chicago, Baltimore, Minnesota. That's a tough stretch. And then in those 7 games, only 3 are going to be at Lambeau Field. One is that Minnesota game, the Sunday, November 23rd, Sunday, December 7th against Chicago, and then either the 27th or 28th of December against Baltimore. So I think that's a tough schedule to finish up. But we'll see how the teams actually play out and such. We won't know that until, obviously we get into the season and that. But what else kind of stood out to you? Well, what other things kind of stood out to you with the Packers schedule? So we'll hit that up. Brewers avoiding the sweep yesterday, taking down the Guardians 9-5. A big reason why was the play of Rhys Hoskins yesterday. Rhys Hoskins going 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs, reaching base 5 times, including a walk on there. He also hit a home run. Frelick hitting a home run too, but it was the Rhys Hoskins game yesterday. Logan Henderson picking up his second win, going 5 innings, giving up just 4 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 7. Got to imagine he's going to continue to stay in that rotation. I mean, you got more injuries too. Jose Quintana Now put on the injured list. Tobias Myers already called back from the minor leagues because of Quintana's injury. So I mean, now you're dealing with some more nicks and bruises and injuries with this pitching staff. Although Aaron Savali looked pretty good again the other day, you'd expect him maybe to be joining the ball club here fairly soon. But I would expect Logan Henderson to remain with the ball club here for a while. Could be wrong, but Chad Patrick is slated to get to start Friday against the Twins, and Peralta was going to get to start on Sunday. They still have Quintana listed as a Saturday starter, but that's going to be changed. Obviously, with him being placed with on that 15-day IL with shoulder impingement, so might be Tobias Myers start on Saturday. Uh So we'll talk some Brewers. Brewers have the off day today to get set for that series against the Twins, who are playing some really good baseball. They picked up both wins in their doubleheader against Baltimore yesterday. I mean, Twins are playing some really confident, some really, really good baseball. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough series. What their win streaks at 10 in a row right now for the Twinnies. So, got to tip your cap to them. It's going to be a tough one. So, hoops wise, speaking of Minnesota Timberwolves, they're moving on to the Western Conference Finals, where they will await the winner between the Nuggets and the Thunder. So, T-Wolves back at it. The Knicks were not able to punch their ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals, even without Jason Tatum. Boston picked up the win last night, so New York still leads that series at 3-2. Hockey wise, we had Edmonton. They're moving on. They won their series against the Vegas Golden Knights with a 1-0 victory in overtime last night. And the Florida Panthers taking down Toronto. They now lead that series 3-2. So we'll talk a little bit about that. PGA Championship. I feel like this thing flies under the radar because again, it obviously doesn't have the same fanfare as the Masters or even the Open or the US Open. You know, a few years ago, getting moved up into this week. It used to be the last major championship. Now it's being moved up or has been moved up in the last few years to May here. So I feel like it's definitely flown under the radar here. But if you want to make your winners predictions, let me know. All right, hit me up with the text. What's your prediction for the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow? All right, is Rory gonna be your dude? Got a good threesome to open it up. It's Rory, Xander Schauffele, and Scotty Scheffler. So I mean, if you're a golf person, you're gonna like that. But if you want to make your predictions, you definitely can by hitting me up again with that text 715-830-1912, or you can comment on the video streams and make your predictions over there. So I'll hit that up a little bit too. We'll chat with Jake Bolks, Wisconsin Conservation Warden, for our outdoor chats coming up at about 8:30 this morning. So if you have any questions for Jake that you would like to ask, text them. That's the way to do it. You got to text them on over, and we can get those to Jake. So that'll be a couple hours from now, and we'll play a little receive or receiver defer a little bit later on as well. So plenty to get to here this morning. Let's jump right into it. All right, let's jump right into it. We'll get your thoughts on the NFL schedule release in terms of the Packers or whoever your favorite team is. What stood out to you the most, or what were a couple things that kind of really stood out to you with how the schedule was constructed, laid out, and such? Also, we'll talk some Brewers, recapping the win from yesterday to avoid the sweep. Brewers 4 games behind the Cubs for first place in the division. They're 2 games under 500 right now. Cardinals are just 1 game behind the Cubs for first place. So we'll throw in some baseball into this too. So let's take our first break, and then we got the leadoff to kick things off this morning. I want to hear from you, though. All right. Start to light up those texting lines or those video stream comments. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Sign up now for the 5th annual Casper Classic being held at Lake Helly Golf Course Friday, August 1st. We are less than 2 weeks away from that 7:30 a.m. tee time slot to close up. That's going to close up on May 26th. So you want to head to sportstalk1051.com to sign up now for that, for your two-person team. Everything else is the same, $90 per team. All right, $90 per team. That includes your meal, that includes your 9 holes, that includes your carts, that includes some drink tickets as well. So this is our biggest Backyard Dreams fundraiser. If you're not a golfer, but you still want to help out, whether it's sponsoring a hole or maybe donating a raffle prize, reach out and we'll talk. And big thanks to everybody who has already signed up. We only have a few more spots available in each tee time session. So again, head to sportstalk1051.com to sign up your two-person team before it sells out, because we have sold out every year we have done this. So, all right, let's begin here this morning. A few texts to catch up on. G-Man says he likes the Packers schedule. Also going with JT for his PGA championship winner. Mike saying the early bye week is what stood out to me. Another texter saying agree, it's a tough finish for the Packers for their final few games. Steve is saying it looks like a tough schedule overall, but we knew all the opponents beforehand. A lot of Thursday games for Green Bay this year. Another texter saying don't like the fact that they have an early Thursday game against the Commanders. And then we've got Matt also saying that that they don't like the Thursday game in week 2. So if you haven't seen the schedule, first of all, what are you doing? But here's a quick refresher of what the schedule actually is for Green Bay now that it's officially out there. They will open up their season against the Detroit Lions. First time the Packers will have a home opener in week 1 since 2018. So Detroit will be coming. It's actually a CBS game too, between Packers and Lions. And then quick turnaround. Week 2, it's a Thursday night game at Lambeau Field where they'll be taking on Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. After that, a couple road games at Cleveland and then at Dallas, a week 5 bye. Then coming off that week 5 bye, it'll be week 6 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Couple road games at Arizona, at Pittsburgh, back home against Carolina. Then a Monday night game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Then at the Giants. And then week 12, that opening weekend of deer season, they'll be home against the Minnesota Vikings. A quick turnaround Thursday, Thanksgiving Day game against the Detroit Lions. Then the Chicago Bears after that. Then on the road against Denver, on the road against Chicago. That's Saturday, December 20th game, and then they'll finish up. Don't know yet if it's Saturday or Sunday game for either of these last 2 games. These are still TBDs, but it'll be home against Baltimore either December 27th or 28th. And at at Minnesota, either Saturday or Sunday, January 3rd or 4th. So that is the schedule. Again, you can check it out. It's online and such. So a couple more texters also chiming in, saying it's a lot of division games to finish up the season. Division is going to be tight, and that's a tough schedule for Green Bay with all the division games at the end of the season. That is from Sam on our texting line. Another texter asking how many primetime games they got. Well, you can look it up, but they've got 5 primetime games so far on the dockets here with that Thursday game. The Dallas Cowboys game is a Sunday night game, week 4. The Pittsburgh game is a Sunday night game, week 8. Then the Monday night game against the Philadelphia Eagles is also on there too. So then you factor in, the Thursday game and such over there too. So they've got, I think it's 5 up there until, maybe even more potentially with those final 2 weeks of the season over there too. So a couple more messages coming in saying that definitely a tough schedule overall, especially finishing with Baltimore at home. That should be a tough one with the running game going into the cold elements against the Packers at Lambeau Field. That is from Casey. And another texter saying, don't like the early bye week, but it seems like it always kind of works out that some injury happens and it'll work out for the bye week for the Packers at that point. So you can keep those coming. Keep those thoughts coming if you'd like. Hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Or you can hit us up on the video stream if you'd like, or hit us up on the socials. Your thoughts on the schedule, or a little bit of Brewers action too. Again, we knew the opponents since January. We knew what was going to be home or away. But with the schedule and such now coming up, we kind of know the layout and everything. And a lot of people thought that maybe Green Bay was going to have a Christmas Day game the way it was set up with that Saturday game, but they avoided the Christmas Day game. Detroit has to play on Thanksgiving and Christmas along with the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys have 4 Thursday games this season. So even if you're not a Packers fan, but you want to chime in on your favorite team's schedule and such, you can do that. You can do that as well. So if you have any more thoughts on it, though, you can let us know and such. Brewers wise, let's switch gears here a little bit for the Brewers. Brewers picking up a win yesterday, going up against the Guardians to avoid the sweep. It was the Rhys Hoskins day yesterday, going 4 for 4, was on base 5 times, including a walk, picking up a home run, 5 RBIs for Rhys Hoskins. Logan Henderson picking up another win, 2 wins in his first 2 starts, joining Robert Gasser as the only Brewers pitchers to do that. He went 5 innings, 4 hits, a couple of earned runs, 7 strikeouts for Logan Henderson. So Brewers avoiding that sweep. They have the off day today before they begin a series against the Minnesota Twins. Twins got to wrap up their series with Baltimore today, but they picked up wins in their doubleheader yesterday against Baltimore, and they are playing some darn good baseball right now. So, I mean, the Brewers, it'll be good to get home, but they're going to be going up against a very tough opponent, an opponent that is playing some fantastic baseball as of late. 10 wins in a row right now for the Minnesota Twins. After a slow start for the Twins to begin the season, they have definitely turned things around. They're still 4th in their division, 3 games above 500. That's because you got the Tigers, who are 14 games above 500, 29-15. The Guardians, 25-18, and Kansas City, 25-20. So for the longest time, the AL Central was kind of a division that it wasn't really the greatest division in all baseball. But right now, it's shaping up to be a pretty solid division across Major League Baseball. So, but we'll preview that game, this series with the Twins, a little bit more tomorrow and such when we get to it. But looking back at yesterday's game, beforehand, the news announced that Jose Quintana is going to be on the 15-day injured list with a shoulder issue. Tobias Myers called back. So, I mean, his stint in the minor leagues or sent down to AAA was very, very, very short. Quintana was scheduled to get the start on Saturday, but that's not going to be happening anymore. Might even be Tobias Myers who's going to get the start on Saturday going up against the Twins. But maybe some more reinforcements coming back. We had Aaron Savali, who pitched pretty darn well in his second relief outing. DL Hall also getting some work in as well. So maybe some more guys potentially getting back into this rotation. But I have to imagine Logan Henderson is probably going to be staying within that rotation for the foreseeable future, considering, well, he's healthy, other dudes aren't healthy, and he's been pitching well in his limited action with the Brewers. So, again, joining Robert Gasser as the only Brewers to win their first 2 games to begin their Major League career for the Milwaukee Brewers. Thoughts on the Brewers, Bob? Turn your mic on there, big guy. Hello? No, we can't hear you, Bob. No, we can't hear you. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. So, we'll see if we could get things figured out and such. But yeah, the Brewers again off day today, and they'll go up against the Minnesota Twins coming up tomorrow and such. But elsewhere, you had Sal Frelick picking up a win, or picking up a home run yesterday too. And this comes off this performance yesterday, this offensive performance, obviously coming a day after that, the Brewers holding that clubhouse meeting between between the team, Pat Murphy holding that clubhouse meeting with them, and maybe it kind of sparked them up a little bit. Maybe it kind of got them going here a little bit and such, but we'll see. You just want that consistency yet for the Brewers offensively to get it going. It's nice to have one game with that, but you got to get that consistency going between this offense and this pitching staff. So it'll be a good test when they go up against the Twins coming up a little bit later on and such. So, but else, other performers from yesterday's win, when you kind of give them a little bit of a look here. We mentioned Rhys Hoskins. It was the Rhys Hoskins game. Sal Frelick with that home run. Yelich collecting just one hit. One hit. Contreras, though, it was nice to see Contreras collecting multiple hits in this game as well, where he was able to get 3 hits. And this is a guy who's been struggling a little bit from the plate as well. But he was able to get that to get 3 hits. You had Bowers able to get a couple of hits as well. So hopefully this is just something that can continue to roll forward. So tell you what, let's take a quick break. We'll see if we can figure out the mic situation and such. But we'll be right back after these quick words. Blanket on what to do for lunch or dinner. Don't stress about it. It's easy with Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. They've got daily meals, fried chicken, Chinese food, pizza, chef specials, and a huge selection of easy take and bake meals that are made fresh in store daily. Plus, they'll even get the grills and smokers going so you can grab yourself some ribs, pulled pork, or half chickens, which that includes this weekend. May 17th through the 18th. It's the Midwest Chicken Fest going on at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. We got pulled chicken sandwich for $4, pulled chicken $5.99 a pound, half chicken $6.99, hindquarters 2 for $6, 6 for $6 wings, hickory smoked. It's going on from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Starting on Saturday and Sunday, plus fresh cornbread and coleslaw as well. So check that out if you don't want to do any don't want to do any quarter or cooking or anything like that. It's a fantastic deal over there at Hy-Vee starting Saturday 11 a.m. also going on Sunday starting at 11 a.m. Brewers again picking up a win yesterday to avoid being swept by the Guardians. A couple more texts here also about the Packers schedule from yesterday. We've got Tony, not Bloomer Tony, another Tony. Tony saying the final few games of the schedule is a tough one for the Packers. They'll have to be playing their best football, unlike last year in that slow finish that they had to the season, to be able to make the postseason and hopefully a deep run into the postseason. Another texter saying they don't like the early bye week and the early Thursday game on the schedule. So I'm going to take it on the opposite side. I think I actually don't mind the early Thursday game because I mean it's week 2. They've had all that offseason. You know, the starters aren't going to be playing in preseason and such. So I mean, at least they would be a little bit more rested instead of having a Thursday game maybe in week 10 or something like that on a short rest or short break or anything like that. So I'm actually going to take it on the opposite approach, that I'd rather have the Thursday game earlier on in the season and get it over with while you hoping that guys are a little bit more fresher and a little bit more, well, in this case, healthier too. So I'm actually going to go with a little bit of the opposite side of that. I'd rather just get it done and get it out of the way here. And you know, you got the week 5 bye week. Not a fan of that, but I mean, it is what it is at this point. But they at least get a little bit of a mini bye week after that Thanksgiving Day game against the Detroit Lions, which again, they may need for that tough stretch to finish off the season. I don't want to necessarily get into wins or losses right now because, I mean, it's May, for crying out loud, and there's so much other stuff that could happen at this point. So, I mean, I don't really want to get into to win or loss predictions because that could easily change. Hopefully, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but hopefully that could easily change depending on if we have an injury, you know, preseason or training camp or something like that. So we got plenty of time to do wins and loss predictions when we get closer to football season. But when it comes to the schedule, anything going to jump out to you right away?
Well, I agree with you. I was thinking the same thing about the Thursday night games. They can really kind of throw a wrench in the schedule depending on the health of your team. And like you said, being in the second week, hopefully we don't run into a lot of injuries in the first game against Detroit. I don't like early games against dome teams in Green Bay. I'd like to have those later games against dome teams in Green Bay, playing the domes early. And it seems like we always get that Viking game late in Minneapolis, and that could be quite a game. It's going to be interesting. Like you said, we don't deal with wins and losses now because that's really a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Really and truly. But you look at this, Detroit, the Bears, the Vikings in about the last 6 or 7 weeks. Those could be very interesting games, especially with the Bears, with some of the moves the Bears made this year and where they are at that time of the season. It's going to be very, very interesting. And of course, whether you play in Chicago or Green Bay later in the season, it doesn't really make much difference. But one of the things that I see here, no foreign games, no overseas games. And I think that's a benefit too, because that traveling that far overseas is a long way. They talk about the West Coast teams going east or the East Coast teams going west, but you know, that's 2 or 3 hours difference. You go over to Europe, you're talking 6, 7, 8 hours of difference, and that is for a short period of time that really does affect your body clock. So I'm glad to see that they don't have any overseas games this year. It's just a different world, although Packer fans are all over the world. I've met them all over the world, and they are there, and they talk football. There are a lot of NFL fans around the world. You know, soccer gets all the attention, and rightly so, around the world, but there are a lot of NFL fans over there. But as far as the schedule is concerned, there's some good teams in there. I think that Sunday night game at Pittsburgh is going to be interesting, depending on what happens with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's maybe why they put it on Sunday night, is the anticipation that is Aaron Rodgers going to be a Steeler.
Yeah, and I mean, the longest there was I shouldn't say foregone conclusion, but the talk was that Green Bay and Pittsburgh were actually going to be playing in Dublin a couple months ago. That was going to be the Dublin game, but then the whole Aaron Rodgers thing happened, and that ended up being now Minnesota going to Dublin. So I honestly feel like that was a change because they didn't want Aaron Rodgers going up against the Packers and Ireland and such. So, but you talk about in terms of team travel, the Packers are one of the teams with the fewest amount of travel miles. The Chargers have the most travel miles, 37,086 total miles. Bengals have the fewest at 8,753. Green Bay's got 12,929. So they're in the bottom third, a little bit lower than that in terms of total travel. Obviously, when you look at the schedule, one of them is, you got Arizona to go to the West Coast, and you follow it up by going to Pittsburgh. But I mean, Green Bay to Pittsburgh isn't that long of a trip over there either. So I mean, it's not that bad of a travel schedule, I think. And I think it's spaced out nicely. Yes, you've got Cleveland and Dallas and back-to-back ones, but again, that's going from Green Bay to Ohio and then Green Bay down to Texas. I mean, and that's a Sunday night game there too. So there isn't really one of those like couple back-to-backs where you're going West Coast and then you're going all the way to the East Coast in that too. So definitely travel-wise, it's kind of it's pretty limited at this point, but no doubt about it, it's a tough schedule to begin. We'll see how these teams actually play out. A lot of their tougher games, I would say, is at home. When you got obviously the division ones, Washington's at home, Cincinnati's at home, Philadelphia's at home, Baltimore's at home. I mean, so I would hope, especially week one, because Detroit has overtaken Lambeau Field the last couple of years. I would hope week one, there's not a whole lot of blue in those stands. There's going to be some. I'm going to be realistic about it. There's going to be some, but I would hope with week one, it's not like what we've seen the last couple of years where you can tell, even if you're watching it on TV, that there is a crap ton of Lions fans over there.
Yeah, some of the Packer fans and the Packers are trying to address this issue, aren't they? If you're selling all your season tickets, you've got season tickets, you sell them for every game, they're going to pull them on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're tracking that. And I think that, I don't know how much they're going to enforce that and how rigid the rule is going to be and when it's going to really be enforced. But it's like going to American Family Field when the Cubs are playing. It's frustrating to get out there and see so many foreigners in that stadium. Same thing with Lambeau. When you go over there and you get all these other fans, you get tremendous amount of Viking fans over there and Lion fans now that the Lions are good. It's depressing to go over there and you think too the same way, who are these season ticket holders? And, get rid of your tickets and sell them to fans that want to go. And I think that's a good thing the Packers are doing. I hope they strictly enforce it. You sell all your tickets, you don't deserve to be a season ticket holder.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that too. I don't know how they could fully enforce it because I'm just imagining if you're a season ticket holder, I'm assuming they're talking about maybe the ones that you put on Ticketmaster, like the resale, but then couldn't just somebody say, all right, I'll just privately do it, put them up on Facebook or something like that because.
But they can trace social media.
But I mean, when you scan it in, they can't tell you. I don't know if they could tell if it's like so I suppose they had to have to transfer it. Yeah, so it's digital now, so they would have to transfer those tickets. You're right. So it's not the old paper tickets where.
Yeah, no, there aren't the paper tickets, which is too bad because
I still wish they had paper tickets.
Oh yeah, my son has done that, taken Badger tickets and the old because they got nice pictures on the tickets. And made them into a wall hanging type of thing. A lot of people have done that. You can't do that now with the systems that they use, but it makes it easier for the most part. But I would like to see a restriction on selling selling your game tickets. If you're a season ticket holder, you sell more than half of them, get them pulled.
I know a couple people said they don't like starting off with a division team right away. I mean,
I don't like that either.
I think it's just honestly, but it's week 1 and it's a premier matchup, so it draws eyes.
Oh, there's no question. Yeah,
that's what kind of draws into it. They're especially
it's all about marketing.
Exactly. I mean, it's going to be CBS's, which is still weird to say it's a CBS game because it's Lions and Packers. It's going to be their main game. You know, you're looking at that, and obviously Vikings Bears are going to be Monday nights on there. Then you got Ravens and Bills for Sunday night too. So I mean, you're going to have a few marquee games for week 1, and that's a marquee game, especially when you consider the Lions and Packers the last couple of years here too. But I'm going to play devil's advocate for this one. If the Lions lost a lot of coaches, right? Ben Johnson, their defensive coordinator, if they're going to be going through a little bit of an adjustment one, maybe I'd rather play them right away week 1 and take advantage of that and get an early season win.
Yeah, that's what success does. People come in and start to cherry pick your people.
Mm-hmm.
And the coaches are like, they're going to the Bears and going to other teams around the NFL. That's the price of success.
Mm-hmm. So maybe think about it on the positive side. If they're still going through some growing pains, new voices, and, you know, just all that, maybe this is a prime opportunity for Green Bay to take advantage of that so they can't get comfortable when they get into the season.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I don't like about playing 2 of the Bears games so late in the season. They've got a lot of different personnel coming in on both sides of the ball, and I mean, they're professionals. They follow the game plan, but still in all, learn how to play together, especially on the offense, the quarterback and the receivers and things like that. And by the time you get into, you know, game 12 or whatever it is there, you're looking at guys that have played together for a long time, and it's going to make a difference. I'd like to at least one of the Bears games earlier.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would like to have seen one of those Bears games up a little bit earlier too, because, you know, you don't want Ben Johnson, first-time head coach, you know, try to take advantage of that too so he doesn't get too comfortable and getting that experience within the schedule there. A couple texts to catch up on. Jeremy says, first thoughts on the schedule. Not a fan of the early bye. Not a fan of starting with a divisional team. I like the early Thursday game because teams should be healthy overall. Early pick 17-0 for Packers this year. That's all. I mean, that's what I would do too. Why not? You know, it's May. So, you know.
Until we're beaten, we're undefeated.
Big Worm says, I like our schedule. Favorite game would be Pittsburgh. 2 historic franchises. Least favorite is Philly coming off their bye, coming to Lambeau. So, but, you know, the early bye thing too, yeah, it stinks, but you know what's probably going to happen? We're probably going to come here week 5 heading into it and say, yeah, that actually came at a good time. Something's going to happen. It usually works itself out, where there's an injury or, you know, like where that guy just needs a week off. And it's like, that might come at the right moment. So.
Well, you know, those 4, I mean, it's a tough schedule. I mean, there's no powder puff in there at all.
No.
Because you're looking at the defense going to have to step up in all these games because they're all better. Commanders are a lot better. Cincinnati got some new players that are going to, you know, they're going to be tough to face Joe Burrow. They better be tough. They better be ready on the defense.
Yeah. You know, I look at the first 4 games, that first quarter of the season before they have their bye week, and I think that's a good opportunity for Green Bay to get off on a hot start because you take down Detroit. That's a division win. It's also an NFC win. If you could take advantage of the short week by staying at home with the Commanders, pick up 2 early wins within the conference, you're going to talk. I mean, if this division is going to be as competitive as we talk about in this conference overall, you're going to need to win those tiebreakers, which is NFC games at Cleveland. Who the heck knows who's going to be playing quarterback for Cleveland at that point? That's kind of a messy situation. Dallas, I mean, they got a first-time head coach over there too. I mean, I think there is a chance for Green Bay. Why not to start off 4-0, but also pick up 3 wins in the NFC? So there's a chance for that. But on the flip side, there's also a chance for them to dig themselves into an early hole going up against the Lions and the Commanders in the first couple of weeks too. So
I wonder if that means that we're going to see Jordan Love and the wide receivers playing in some of these preseason games, especially with the 2 new rookies from Texas, TCU coming in and playing and get game speed. There's one thing about working with them in practice, you know, and they run their routes, you throw the routes, but what are they going to do when they're facing in game and even in practice when you're facing the cornerbacks on your team, how intense is that effort versus even in a preseason game? Now, granted, it's not regular season, but still, it's an opponent, and that opponent is going to want to show they're awfully good at the corner because there are guys in there. And so, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what LaFleur does with Jordan Love and some of these rookie receivers going into the preseason.
They do have 2 home preseason games this year, too, if that matters at all.
Doesn't matter to anybody, does it?
Well, I mean, in this case, if you want them to get more work in, it should matter for you.
Are you going over for them?
We'll see. I mean, there's a Jets game and Seattle. The final one, the first and the third one are all at Lambeau. The second one's at the Colts. And I was actually surprised they released the preseason schedule, to be honest with you, with that too. Sometimes they don't. So,
but I think that's one of the things I'll be looking for in preseason is will Jordan Love play a quarter, and will they work on their passing game more so than their running game in preseason in the games with Jordan Love at quarterback and these receivers, so he can get a feel of, you got to get a feel of their speed in a game situation. In practice, yeah, they're running hard, but is that game running hard? I just think there's a difference, and I think it'll be interesting to follow them in the preseason.
If you have a gold package, I would say you got a Thursday night game and a Monday night game. But, I mean, in terms of the opponents, the gold package tickets are the Commanders and the Eagles ones over there. So, I mean, if you just want to talk about quality of opponent, those are 2 pretty good ones to go to. I know it's a Thursday and a Monday, which, some people, it might be kind of hard with work schedules and such, but that's not bad either, though, too. So
when it comes to the Packers, people find a way to get the time off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, I would agree, especially if you got those limited opportunities to go to games and that. All right, we got to take – no, we don't. We're not taking another break. Never mind. We're going all the way up to the top because we did take a little bit of an earlier break. So a couple more texts to get to. Let's go to Jim. Jim saying about the schedule. Agree with you guys. All those division games in the late portion of the season is going to be tough. Hopefully this gets them primed and ready for a deep postseason run. Another texter saying that they would like to have seen a Chicago game a little bit earlier on in the season too. So there was a couple more. I think they were on Facebook. Let me bring those comments up here. I think one was from Surveyor.
But it's fun to sit and speculate about it now.
Yeah.
And, your thoughts and the texters' thoughts and everybody's thoughts about the schedule and what's going on. But as the season goes on, it's interesting how it kind of washes out. So somebody's maybe not as strong as you think. Playing Dallas early, is that going to be a benefit? They bring in new receivers, and is that going to be a benefit? Are they going to be in sync by the 4th game already?
New coaching staff over there too.
Coaching staff too. So that'll be an interesting game to see how that washes out. But what does bother me is so many, and I know they're competition, and that's when it gets to be intrigue, is towards the end of the season when you're playing your own division. I can understand why they do that, but I'd like to see at least one of those Bears games earlier, maybe in October or the first part of November.
Surveyor said the end of that schedule is brutal. Why in the world does the NFL think it's okay to schedule the same division team twice in a 3-week span? But I can completely asinine, but I can see them really going 8-0 before the Eagles matchup and 10-1 before Thanksgiving after the schedule becomes a gauntlet. And I consider the Bears tough because of how close together we play them at home and away. So,
wow, that's optimistic.
Yeah. Well,
I hope he's right.
I'm picking 17-0 right now too, because you know why? It's May 15th.
That's right.
I mean, I'm going 17-0. So there's way too much that still could be decided beforehand. Hopefully, nothing in terms of bad news, in preseason or training camp. So. But continue to send those if you want to get your thoughts on that. Packers do have 5 primetime games. I sent the most. The Chiefs have 7, which is no surprise.
No surprise. What about Philadelphia?
They had 6. Let me see.
I know some of those teams. I think Kansas City is still to watch, is the most fun team to watch versus Philadelphia. And Philadelphia ran over them in the Super Bowl, but I think Andy Reid, his play calling, and Patrick Mahomes with the way he plays quarterback, and is he going to throw it left-handed, right-handed, underhand, sidearm? You never know. And I can see why. They're a draw. They're fun to watch. More fun to watch than Philadelphia, as great as a team as Philadelphia had last year, and they proved in the Super Bowl. They're not must-see TV. They're going to be in the mix. But Kansas City is, I got to watch Kansas City. They're fun. You never know what they're going to do.
Dallas is 6, which is no surprise because they're Dallas.
Yeah.
A little bit of a surprise to me was Atlanta has 5. The Falcons have 5 on that list. Philly has 5 too. So
what's their claim to fame? They don't even have a quarterback. Kirk Cousins is still.
Well, Penix Jr. is their quarterback from the rookie from last year.
But he came in because Cousins fell on his face. Is Cousins going to be back there? Is he going someplace else?
Penix is a starter. I mean, he's a top 10 pick from last year.
Kirk Cousins got an awful big contract.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, they're not in a rush. They can afford to carry it right now if they want to. So
yeah, because Penix has just got a very attractive contract as a rookie or second-year player.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's and I don't blame. I mean, this one's going to probably break records too because that Thanksgiving Day game of Chiefs versus Cowboys in Dallas, regardless if you like either of those, that's going to probably break Thanksgiving records, I would imagine. Right? I mean, that was probably an easy one for them to pick.
Yeah, that's not a hard one at all.
To schedule that for a Thanksgiving Day game. So we'll get back to some more of your thoughts on the schedule and such. You can let us know by hitting us up with the text 715-830-1912. We'll talk some more Brewers baseball coming up in the next hour. Brewers avoiding the sweep yesterday, thanks to big part of Rhys Hoskins with 5 RBIs yesterday. So off day today for the Brewers. Before they take on a Twins team that's playing some really, really, really good baseball. Winners of 10
they won 8 or 10 in a row?
10 in a row right now. So
and don't forget, we got the Preakness Stakes on Saturday, second jewel of Triple Crown. But it's not as I don't know, glamorous as it should be.
What's the least glamorous, that or the PGA Championship that also starts today?
I'm picking Jordan Spieth.
All right. Well, which one's least glamorous, though? Preakness or the PGA Championship?
But they really lost when you don't have a horse continuing the trail of the Triple Crown, it does hurt the racing industry. There's no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
Still be big, but it's not what it should be.
C-Bob's crying about the schedule. I think we got hosed. I hate opening with a divisional game, then a short week with Washington. Brutal. Ending in a dome game against the Vikings is ridiculous. That game has to be at Lambeau.
I agree with him.
Don't cry about it. Just go win the game.
No, exactly.
Go win the game.
But it's gotten to the point lately that it has been the last few years. More often than not, the later game of the Vikings is in the dome. The early game is in Green Bay, and it should be every other year at least. And I don't think it's been that way for the schedule. That the later game of the Viking is in Green Bay. It seems like too many of those late games have been in that dome. I think they should be in Green Bay.
Well, you know what? Just go win, baby. That's all. That's all I care about. I'm not gonna. I mean, to be fair, yeah, whatever. It is what it is at this point. So, but I'm not.
It is what it is, but is it fair?
Go win.
Well,
go win.
Yeah, that's easy to say sitting here May 15th.
Well, I mean, is Lambeau that much? Has it been that much of a home field advantage?
Well, you get that cold. I just think, for fairness, for the warm weather one year, cold weather, I just don't think if the schedule has been tilted to be more late season games in that dome.
Well, to be fair, though, I mean, the Lions and Jared Goff, who for the longest time in his career sucked in cold weather, has now won in cold weather against Green Bay. So until they could,
one game, yeah.
Well, until they could, I mean, they practically should have lost every division game last year. Green Bay should have, besides the one Chicago won.
They almost did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think there's that much of a home field advantage anymore at Lambeau.
But every year is different.
Well, let's improve it this year then first. So, all right. 1 in, 2 more to go. We'll talk some baseball coming up after these quick words. Second hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however you're tuning in from. Whether it's and also how you're tuning in too, with it, whether it's on the radio dials at 105.1 FM, 790 AM, online at sportstalk1051.com. Video streams also up and rolling. The app, the Alexa. Just tell Alexa, play WAYY. Hopefully, I just turned on a bunch of Alexas for you by saying that too. So, we're going to talk some baseball coming up here in just a little bit. But first, let's do a little throwback Thursday. On this day, Brooklyn's 1862 Brooklyn's Union Grounds opened. It was the first enclosed baseball park. 1862. How about that? 1941, Joe DiMaggio began his Major League Baseball hitting streak of 56 games. Streak ended actually on my birthday, July 17th. 1973, Nolan Ryan pitched his first no-hitter. He was with the California Angels, 1973. And I think that's about it. Yeah, those are just some of your Throwback Thursday sports moments. I wanted to ask you this too. What was it like, Bob, to watch Shoeless Joe Jackson play baseball? Hall of Fame worthy, back in the day watching him?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to even find any tape to see him on film way back then. But, the stories you get from the old the Negro Leagues, that he was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Do you think now that, do you think Pete and him are you going to go with the 90% of people that voted in our poll yesterday that they should be in the Hall of Fame?
Pete Rose, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Shoeless Joe, he made a difference in some games. I don't think Pete Rose made the difference in any games with his gambling.
Well, I mean, the Shoeless one is skeptical at best because there's a lot of evidence out there saying he didn't even take the money.
Yeah, see, and I don't, and that's so old and hard to pin down. I don't know. I wouldn't have a problem with either one of them. Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame more so than Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, some of those guys. I think because of what he did on the field. Well, and you could argue Barry Bonds before in Pittsburgh, he probably had a Hall of Fame career, but then he went to San Francisco and did what he did. But Pete Rose on the field, most hits ever. I mean, Charlie Hustle, the guy was a difference maker. He's definitely a Hall of Fame player. Now, if you're going to hold the gambling against him with what's going on, and I think that's probably part of the reason that he's been taken off that ineligible list is, times change and sports changes and the way we react to our sports and bet on it. If we didn't have gambling on sports, believe me, sports wouldn't be as popular as they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Pete Rose deserves to be in because I don't think he ever bet on games that he was managing in or anything like that. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I think the history shows that he didn't gamble on games that his teams were involved in. But he did gamble on baseball, and that's a mortal sin as far as baseball is concerned back then in the time. But now times have changed. I think everybody's kind of loosened up a little bit. It's just a fact of life. You got teams in Las Vegas. They'll never have pro teams in Las Vegas. Well, now we got them. There's more coming. And I think Pete Rose definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I'll reserve judgment on Shoeless Joe Jackson for the historians that know a whole lot more about it than I do. But I was around to watch Pete Rose come up, play all those years, and he was the kind of guy that made your team better.
Mm-hmm. What would you say to those who still say no, he shouldn't be in there?
I think they've got a legitimate gripe, and I would think the ones that say they're no shouldn't be in there are probably guys of my vintage that were back when the game has to be pure and all those sorts of things. So I can see that, their point of view too, but the game has changed. I mean, college sports, whoever thought we'd be doing what we're doing in college sports? It's a different world out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. without any kind of asterisk or anything else, just for his on-field account. You know, because you're judged, he's going to be voted in, if he's voted in, gets in by his playing. He wasn't a Hall of Fame manager.
Right.
He's a Hall of Fame player. Easily a Hall of Fame player.
Bonds, should he get in?
Depending, again, I go back to, are we being more tolerant of what those guys did? You know,
So let me give you
drug and performance enhancing drugs. Are we being more acceptive of it right now? I guess.
Let me give you the argument that some people will say that since baseball turned a blind eye to it, should the players get penalized if baseball turned a blind eye to it?
That's a very good point. And when this first started, I thought the same thing. But baseball was, they were between a rock and a hard place because their popularity was going down. And then all of a sudden, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa brought attention to the game that everybody, even if you weren't a Cub or Cardinal fan, everybody followed those guys.
Let's talk about yesterday. I was turning the TV on to watch the home run chase.
You were watching home runs. They were the lead story on Sports Center and every national sports show, whether TV, radio, whatever it may be. And baseball does deserve to be chastised for what they didn't do. Should they have stepped in? But they were enjoying a high ride at that time. And so brings up a good point. If baseball had stepped in, would it have made a difference? If baseball had stepped in, would their numbers be where they are now or where they ended up being? With Bonds, home run leader, McGwire and Sosa with their home runs, where might they have been? Like I said, I think Bonds would have been in anyway. McGwire and Sosa, I don't think they're Hall of Fame players. They were great power hitters. They're nowhere like an Aaron Judge. But I think Barry Bonds, if you're going to, not turn a blind eye, but accept what he did, I think he probably would be deserving of getting in. But I agree, baseball has to take a lot of blame for allowing that to go on as long as it did. I mean, if it wouldn't have been for the book that, what's his name, Jose Canseco wrote, would this ever have become public? And baseball would have kept it under the rug for how long? I think eventually it would have come out with enough investigative reporters in the game. But with Jose Canseco's book, talking about that already for the Oakland A's when McGwire was there. I don't know. I guess I like to, success. Let's celebrate success. But do we celebrate that kind of success? That's a hard one. Bonds, I could see getting in the Hall of Fame. I don't think Sosa and McGwire have the numbers to get in anyway. But I think baseball too has to take a step back. Even the writers knew this was going on, and they weren't doing anything. And the writers are the ones that vote these guys into the Hall of Fame or not into the Hall of Fame. And I think the writers have to be chastised as well as Major League Baseball. The guys that were covering the games day in and day out in the locker rooms, they found that bottle on McGwire's shelf of what that, just about the name of it, what it was. I forgot. It's been so long ago that I've heard it, but they found that. What's that jar there? What's that bottle? Oh, that's to help me recover from injuries easier and faster. But it really didn't get much press. And so, I think there's a lot of egg on a lot of faces.
This was from Dan Wetzel, who wrote, he's a writer for ESPN and such. And I thought it was kind of an interesting way to put it. And with you you just recently were at the Hall of Fame just a couple of years ago or a year or so ago. And I thought this was an interesting part. He said, history is history. The game is the game. The museum is the museum. Tell the story, the whole story, with all the best players and the best teams and the best tales, no matter how colorful, criminal, or regrettable they are. So, I mean, I thought that was an interesting point where, should the museum, the Hall of Fame, have something about that? Because if their job is to tell the story and such, should that be a part of that?
Well, there's some Pete Rose stuff in the Hall of Fame. It's just not in the hall where all the plaques are hanging. They tell the story of baseball, not as in depth as I think it should be told during that era.
I think that's probably the point he's getting at.
Yeah, and I agree with him. I think it should be told more. But it's alluded to maybe that would be the word rather than, reported on. It's alluded to that some of this stuff went on, but there should be more. I agree, but they'll never, until they're accepted, never be in the Hall of Honor where the plaques all hang. And if you've never been out there and seen it, it's a trip worth going to.
Yeah.
But it's I think baseball needs to, let's be put on our big boy pants and acknowledge this is what happened and why it slid through the cracks, because it was a dollars and cents game. They had to pick up the interest of baseball again, and they did.
This was a couple more. I mean, he's interesting. He says museums exist to tell about history, and history is always messy, including in sports. They shouldn't be solely designed for the sanitized, establishment-approved version of events or allow outside considerations to overshadow actual accomplishments. They certainly shouldn't serve as part of some carrot and stick approach to desired behavior. So let them in, talk about Pete Rose, let them in, then tell the good, the bad, and the ugly so the public can decide what to think. This is the Baseball Hall of Fame, not the pearly gates. It's about a nice day in central New York State with your family, complete with a gift shop.
More than one gift shop, believe me. And if you're going to the gift shop, bring your credit card and your wallet, because it's not cheap. But again, I'll go back to when you talk Hall of Fame, Paul Hornung and Alex Karras. They've got plaques.
Yep, they got busts in there. Yep.
They're in Canton.
Yep.
And they were busted for
They were
gambling.
suspended for a year for gambling. Yep.
And so should Pete Rose be penalized?
Right.
One sport different than the other?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a big believer in telling the whole story and keeping the story alive. And that, to me, I would agree with what Wetzel says about like Hall of Fames and such. Their purpose is to keep those stories alive and tell those stories. And I think, can you tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose?
Oh, absolutely
you
not.
Can't.
No.
And tell the good and the bad.
The only thing is, it's a Hall of Fame, so you got the best players in there. And the term museum, he uses the term museum in there. It is a museum of baseball, but again, should there be someplace different to tell all that? I don't know. I just wonder. I think it's a whole lot easier to have it all in one place, to tell the history of baseball, like you said, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But again, I don't see keep Pete and Rose out of there for gambling when Paul Hornung and Alex Karras are in the Football Hall of Fame. They had football addressed it. They penalized them a year. They came back. They got in the Hall of Fame, and they were voted in. And I don't know why the football writers are more tolerant of gambling than the baseball writers, but they were, obviously. And I would say without question, Pete Rose belongs in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and to be fair, like his one line in here, he says, too, his foolishness as a manager shouldn't have eclipsed his impact as a player.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think for me, that's the perfect line to kind of sum it up.
And like I said, he was a long way from being a Hall of Fame manager, but there's no question he's a Hall of Fame player.
Yep. All right. This is going to, and again, the earliest that he could potentially get voted in is not going to be until 2027 because of the senior committee. That's the next time they vote and such. But you could guarantee it's going to be a debate leading up to it and after. So.
And I think it's interesting because some of these guys that were on the Veterans Committee at the time when Rose first got into trouble, Bob Feller was on. He says, there's no way in the world I would ever vote Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame. Well, Bob Feller never played against Pete Rose. And again, he came in the pure era of sports back then when these guys, Pete Rose could have played in that era, and he did. He played hurt. He played injured. He was a tough guy. He didn't take all these days off. But Bob Feller is gone. And the guys with that thought process, for the most part, are gone. And so the Veterans Committee now are more the veterans that played maybe when Pete Rose was first coming up and had some interaction with Pete Rose and know about him. So I think, the Veterans Committee for years said, no, we'd never put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Well, the Veterans Committee has changed. Who's on that committee now? So it'll be interesting to see what their thought process is. And I'm sure we'll hear some comments from some of those guys on that committee before this vote ever comes up, and we'll have a better feel of whether or not they're inclined to put him in.
Yep. So definitely going to be something people are going to be talking about yet for a couple more years here.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. That's
yep.
a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
As they bet $5 on the Cubs to the Brewers. You know, everybody does it. I mean, but again, the argument is we're fans. We're not on the field. Pete Rose was on the field, but again, who did he bet on? Did he
Mm-hmm.
bet? He didn't bet on the teams he was playing. So, gambling is a part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Does it change? Is there is there point point shaving and all that stuff? I don't know. I mean, a referee a few years ago in the NBA got kicked out because he was doing that. When there's a lot of money involved, it's hard for some people to say no. It's a human fault that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, let's take a quick break and we'll talk more baseball, but we'll talk some Brewers coming up after these quick words. When it comes to orthopedic care, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine in Altoona is here for you. Their team of specialists provides comprehensive services, including joint replacement, sports medicine, pain management, and spine care. Whether you're recovering from an injury or managing chronic pain, they offer personalized treatment plans to help you get back to the activities that you love. Just visit cvosm.com to schedule an appointment today. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, your partner in recovery. Steve from Eau Claire says, here's what I think with the Pete Rose situation is a little different from Horning. On one hand, the Hall of Fame induction is supposed to be based solely on your professional accomplishments. I personally don't buy that they do that this way, but whatever. And based on that criteria, Rose absolutely should be in. But on the other hand, he flat out lied about his gambling for 15 years. If he had been upfront about it right away, I think he would have helped his case immensely, because you're right, you don't have to be a saint to get in. Horning admitted it right away that he gambled and was honest and straightforward about it, and he got a 1-year suspension. But the fact that Rose lied about it for so long, I think, damaged his case greatly, which is why I have a bit of a hard time with it. Which, yeah, he should have apologized right away. But again, I think for me personally, it still goes to, we're still talking about him going into Hall of Fame as a player, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. He did mess up by not admitting it right away. I mean, the proof was there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just unbelievable why he denied and denied and denied. So I agree with the texter there that there's no question. Pete Rose wasn't a saint,
Mm-hmm.
And the way he played the game, they go to that All-Star game and talk to Ray Fosse from Cleveland, the Cleveland catcher, and ask him about Pete Rose in an All-Star game. He played flat out from the first inning until the last strike was held in a game. He gave you everything, but he wasn't the most likable guy in the world. But you don't vote him in on likability, although that did play a part in. I remember Jim Rice.
I was going to say, baseball voters are so petty in their personal feelings with players. It's
he didn't give me an interview at his locker. These writers can be pretty petty, and Pete Rose was not, not the most forthcoming and friendly guy. But you don't vote him in on his locker room attitude. You vote him in on how he played on the field.
Such a power trip for some of these voters.
Oh yeah.
Joshua says, couldn't agree with that writer more on the Hall of Fame. Embrace the moments, not necessarily the actions. That was one hell of a great time in baseball during Sosa, Bonds, and McGuire era. Whether you agree or not, we all enjoyed watching it. And it's really sad that society waits until people pass away to celebrate them and appreciate what they brought to the world.
No, that's good. I remember we put a bus trip together here from the station to get on to Chicago and watch Sammy Sosa. And he hit a home run it was in September. He hit a home run. I think it was 61 or 62, something like that. And the stands were full.
Mm-hmm.
And they were full of fans from other places, not just Chicago. So it was a highlight of the era of baseball back then. We all enjoyed it. And, we all knew probably that, then I didn't know about the cork bat. I don't, he got caught with a cork bat. I don't know how much he did that, but we all knew he took the performance enhancing drugs. You could see by the difference in their physiques.
Mm-hmm.
How all of a sudden they got bigger, stronger, their muscle patterns, but we all enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, I mean, I was telling the story yesterday. My first baseball game was Brewers Twins at the Metrodome, and I was 10 or something like that. And I was like, man, because the Twins were playing the Cardinals the series after, and I'm like, how can I get here to watch McGuire?
Yeah.
And it was the home run chase here.
Sure.
That's what it was. So, I mean, yeah. And I still remember
the chicks dig the long ball.
Exactly. And I still remember, like, when the bottom line of the TV would say Mark McGuire's up to bat, I'd race to the other room and turn it on just to watch it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that definitely sucked me in as a 10-year-old kid watching.
Oh, yeah. It sucked us all in. If you're 10 or 20 or 50 or 80. Yeah. You enjoyed watching it if you're a baseball fan, And
it just happened to be during the same time that Ken Griffey Jr. was playing too, and playing at a high level. So, I mean, it's sad to say, but because there was so many good all-time greats that played in the 90s when you think back at it. I was just talking about it the other day. We could probably have a weekly segment of some ridiculous Tony Gwynn stats
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it's just that kind of gets flown under the radar a bit. The one I was bringing up was I watched a video of John Smoltz say between him, Glavine, Maddox, and Pedro, those 4 pitchers struck Tony Gwynn out a total of 3 times. Think about that. 3 times. That's it. They struck out against those guys. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But then it's like, would Tony Gwynn, in today's analytics world about power and launch angle and all that sort of stuff.
Nobody'd want him, right?
Exactly, right?
I'd want him on my team.
I'd want him on my team. Heck yeah. But I want him on the Brewers right now. Maybe they could get some more consistent hitting.
You want on the Brewers.
9-5 victory for the Brewers over the Guardians yesterday. Logan Henderson picking up his 2nd win of the season. Rhys Hoskins had himself a nice game, 4 RBIs, 4 hits, including a home run, on base 5 total times. But before the game, it was announced that Jose Quintana was placed on the injured list with a shoulder impingement. So I would imagine Logan Henderson's going to get some more opportunities. Tobias Myers was recalled and joining the team. So you add that to the list. We had the setback from Brandon Woodruff. Again, it's not the shoulder. It's an ankle issue, but probably going to be a couple more weeks here for Brandon Woodruff. So, but it's been the offense that's probably been the biggest question mark or disappointment so far for this team and the consistency level with it. And, I Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday or whatever day it was, I'm looking at Yelich and Contreras as 2 guys that I want to see step it up if they're going to be consistently in the middle of that order. And Pat Murphy said it the other day, we need more production from the middle of our order. It's going to be those 2 guys consistently. I want to see more of that. Contreras did have a good day yesterday, but you do have to wonder, is that fractured finger, going to be something that's going to bother him at the plate going forward?
Yeah, as a catcher, and, because most of the balls are coming to you from the pitcher, the fouled off or hit out. But still in all, that hand is getting hit and hit and hit, and that's not good for healing. So I don't know, but that's what I had for receiver to first. Too much is made about the Brewer pitching and not enough about their hitting and defense for where they are right now.
I would say those are the 2 biggest issues right now.
Yeah.
I think they've got some injuries to pitchers, but I think they've handled that fairly well considering everything. And I'm looking at it's fair to say, I think right now your most consistent hitters, your best 3 hitters are Rhys, Turang, and Chiriot. And it's not Yelich. It's not Contreras, and those are 2 guys that you need to be in that middle of that order.
Well, especially Yelich.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if his body is completely broken down now and he's just going through the motions. They say he's healthy, but is he healthy? And I can't believe that his skills have dropped off that much in the last 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. And especially, it's so weird when you go back to when he fractured that knee. And since then, it's kind of been a spiral down. And then last year, it's like, okay, this is the vintage Yelich. And then he gets hurt again and misses the second half of the season. And now we're back to where we were, it seems like 3 years ago or a couple of years ago with Yelich. Yes,
he's frail.
He's got some power, but I mean, he's barely cracking 200 right now for a batting average.
Can't have that. He's 80 points below where he should be. And just think, if he was 80 points higher, what the difference would be in their record.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way he should be hitting around 200. Just no way in the world.
I would agree with that.
If he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's healthy or not, but he just, I don't know. He doesn't seem to be playing with enthusiasm. When you watch him, and I haven't been to a game yet, but just when I watched him on TV, just seems like he's going through the motions.
Yeah, he's 205 right now. He's a career 285 hitter. His OPS is almost 200 points lower than his career averages. He's a 663 OPS. He's a career 838. Even his on-base percentage is under 300 so far this season. So, and you break it down, his last 59 plate appearances, just 169 batting average and slugging just 288 with a 234 on-base percentage.
Well, and that's when you get into a game, the opposing pitcher, who does he have to pitch around?
Yeah.
Nobody. There's nobody. Go after every one of them. There's nobody you have to pitch around or intentionally walk or do this sort of thing. You don't worry about that lineup because there's nobody in there that's consistently hitting the ball and doing some damage. Just take the first 3, the next 3, and the last 3 and turn them around and go back through them again. That's the problem.
Even Contreras or even Chiriot to an extent too, because there's one thing that he could probably should be better at is being a little bit more patient and taking some walks up there too. But he's
Yeah.
so aggressive up there that, pitchers I think take advantage of that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
You know.
Absolutely. They will. And because that's what scouts, I mean, this is modern technology. You
Hmm.
talk about all the techniques that they've got now for evaluating a guy's performance and what he's going to do. I mean, they've got it. Well,
It's right in the dugout with them.
yeah,
I mean, you
it's
watch
a,
Chris Hook, and he's got the tablet already out there,
yeah, what is this
looking at
guy's
stuff.
tendency? 2-0 or 1-2. He'll swing at the down and away pitch. Well, that's what they're going to throw him, a down and away pitch. They've got it all right there. So, you've got to, if you're not going well, you got to try and change your ways a little bit to disrupt some of these logistics or diagnostics and all the other stuff that they're using now, because it's a different game than it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. So yeah, off day today here for the Crew. Before that Twins series. Twins, though, they got to wrap up their series with Baltimore today. They're at Baltimore before coming back to the Midwest and then taking on the Brewers for this weekend series. Then it's going to get kind of interesting here for the Twins. After this Brewer series, then they're home against the Guardians and then home against the Royals. So that should be a couple of good fun series. That AL Central is actually turning out to be a fun division to watch right now.
Yeah, all those teams are better than the Brewers right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the Twins are fourth in their division. They're 3 games above 500. So
they take one player from each team for the All-Star team. Who's the All-Star for the Brewers?
Terang, maybe.
And he's not exactly setting the world on fire.
If you go bullpen pitcher, it's probably Nick Mears, who's actually been really good this year, but he's a bullpen guy. So I mean, he doesn't really have he's not the closer, so he doesn't have a lot of the fanfare to go with him.
No, that's what I say. I don't know who the Brewer All-Star deserves to be an All-Star, outside of the fact that if they take one from every team, they got to take somebody. But who is it?
I would say for just me, it's either between Terang or Cheerio, probably at this point. I know Ritazzi's having a decent year too, but again, fanfare, I think it would be either the Platinum Glove winner and the guy. Actually, Reese Hoskins is leading the team now in batting average at 292. So
yeah, he's having a nice year, but again, he's not.
He's a first baseman that hasn't, he's not double-digit home runs.
No, exactly.
Power-wise.
He's in the power spot, third, first,
Mm-hmm.
corner outfielders. You gotta hit some home runs.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll wrap up with some receiver defer. Hey, don't forget to send us your PGA Championship winners. I know it's probably the major that doesn't get the most fanfare with it, but it is beginning today. It already has begun. So if you want to make your pick, send us a text. Coming up at about 8:30, we'll catch up with Jake Boakes, our conservation warden buddy. So if you have any questions, text them in now at 715-830-191. Can get those on over to Mr. Boakes, whether it's a fishing one or we're wrapping up the turkey hunting season too. So get those questions in. Let's wrap up the second hour with some receive or defer. I'll start it off here. Receive or defer. If Rory, who has won 4 times at Quail Hollow, wins the PGA Championship, the in-season slam watch is on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because Rory is playing some of the best golf he's played in the last few years. I think everybody's disappointed in his career because I thought he'd have more championships in the majors than he does have. He has the Grand Slam, which is no small accomplishment. But I think that the watch is on because I think he's good enough. He can win anywhere.
Because the Open is in Northern Ireland if you're this year. So where's Rory from? Ireland.
Yeah, Northern Ireland.
Yeah, so that would be a little bit of
Royal Portrush.
Yep. Exactly. So I mean, you got that. The U.S. Open this year is where's it at? Is that? Oh, I just blanked. Let me Google it once.
I don't remember what the U.S. Open.
Oakmont. Is it Oakmont?
Oakmont.
Oakmont. Yeah. It's Oakmont. Okay. Yep. That's what I thought. Okay. Oakmont. So, but yeah, I think if Rory wins, where he's won 4 times, he's in a position to make things a little interesting.
Yeah, he was talking
this year.
the other night on the Golf Channel about how comfortable he is with it, and he knows how to play this golf course. And I was watching some of their commentators go out and hit chips on the edge of the green, and they said, you can't get close to this pin on this portion of this green. And so it'll be fun to watch that. Some of those courses are too hard, too restrictive, and you can't make a charge. You just have to play steady golf. And that's not fun to watch.
Right.
You want to see a guy that, can you shoot 65 or 66 on the last day? Or it'll be interesting. I don't know what the conditions will be. And, of course, these guys are the best players in the world. Quail Hollow, it's going to be a challenge for them. But these guys, there'll be a handful of them that I think will, cream will rise to the crop. Who the cream will be this week, we don't know. But I think it's going to be a fun tournament to watch. The majors always are.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see Rory, and I know it's a different tournament, but, how does he come out in this tournament after winning that emotional Masters? Is he more loose? Is he a little bit, does he struggle because I don't know. It's going to be an interesting case study, especially coming to a place where he's had so much success at.
I think he's going to go in with a boatload of confidence. I think he's going to really go after this thing. And I think the rest of the team, the rest of the field better be ready because I think you're going to get Rory's best effort. There's no pressure on him now. He's got what he wanted. He's got the Grand Slam. And I think he is going to be so loose that he might, in the next 4 or 5 years, play some of the best golf we've seen.
And I think golf needs it too.
Oh, there's no question golf needs it. I mean, without Tiger, the world is still trying to, accept golf after Tiger. And it's going to take a while. Yeah. Because, everybody thought, well, Rory is the next Tiger. Rory is not the next Tiger. There is no next Tiger.
No.
I don't care who they are. Scotty Scheffler, great player, but he doesn't bring he doesn't
have the personality.
Exactly, the chutzpah or whatever you want to say to the game. I mean, he's reserved. He's a great player, and he can do some great things on the golf course, but he's not Tiger Woods.
Nope.
We had Jack Nicklaus was just so great, and he was a lot like Scotty Scheffler, just play and I'll do it. Arnold Palmer was pre-Tiger Woods.
Charismatic.
Yep. Even Gary Player to a certain extent. But there's nobody on the tour now that is even close to Tiger's aura.
Right.
I just don't think they're out there. I like watching all of them play because I respect it. Anybody who's played the game knows how hard it is to play the game at that level. But still in all, they're not Tiger, and you can't expect to have Tiger out there. I don't think we'll see Tiger at all anymore.
No, I hate to say that too, unless it's the Champions Tour. Come to Wisconsin so I can see you at least once in the Tiger.
You've never seen Tiger play?
Never seen Tiger play.
Yeah, no, he's
Never saw it.
yeah.
So, what do you got for receiver to fur?
Receiver to fur. Giannis is gone.
Are we talking like for the foreseeable future or just for this year, this offseason?
Well, I mean, I think
he's got one more for sure in Milwaukee.
Do you? Okay, I hope you're right.
Yep. I'll say he's here this year, but possibly gone after next year.
Yeah.
So
receiver to fur. The management over the years of the Bucks bowed too much to Giannis's wishes as far as the roster is concerned, and now we are where we are.
I'll defer it because if they hadn't, I think he might have been gone earlier. So,
but I mean, as far as a successful team,
they tried. It just it didn't work out. So yeah, they absolutely bowed to Giannis a lot, and that's the poopy thing I think that is about the NBA. It's so individualized at this point, and individual players can control so much of the narrative and can control so much of the team, and that's what I mean. It stinks about the NBA right now.
Yeah, I know. It does. Going forward, I don't know. Is Jalen Brunson the most valuable player in the playoffs right now? Receiver to fur that.
Most valuable or most important?
Well, most important, I suppose.
I'll go Anthony Edwards for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I think Jalen Brunson is more consistently there for the Knicks than
it's between those two.
Yeah.
Because if it is Clippers versus Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards is going to need to go off, I think, against the Thunder and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's probably going to be the regular season MVP.
Yeah, well, I think so too. But it's been an interesting.
Not over yet. Not over yet.
Celtics. Oh, no, not by a long shot.
Can you imagine if the Celtics force a Game 7?
Oh, wow.
Every Knicks fan in the world is just going to be puckered up and nervous as all get out.
I haven't, and catch me up. I know Jason Tatum is in the hospital. What is the diagnosis?
Oh, he tore his Achilles.
Oh, he tore his Achilles. Okay, that I've never. I've been listening, and I've been at the wrong time, obviously.
Yep, tore his Achilles.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, I was talking to Austin about it a couple of days ago. I'm like, there just seems to be an epidemic of Achilles injuries in the last couple of years. And I was like Googling. I'm like, I don't remember so many guys, and it might just be the social media, version. But I was trying to look at NBA players from the 90s, because Kevin Durant did it a couple years ago, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Kobe Bryant did it a few years ago and such. I forgot Dominique did it in the mid 90s, tore his Achilles, but that's the only other one I could really find, like big name wise. And and I forgot Dan Marino did it in the 90s too. But it just seems like, man, maybe one of those things where everybody's doing it.
Yeah, and you look at I don't know why, with their body makeup is prone to that, because you look at some of these guys, how hard some of these guys played at Magic and Bird. They were hurt, but they were never seriously out like that.
Well, what's going to happen though too is that this load management stuff is going to be talked about more. And, more star players get hurt like this, and if it's over because they're tired or overused, you're going to get guys that are going to sit more.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to have to adapt to it. That's for sure.
So
receiver to fur, Boston has no chance to win the title this year.
Receive.
Yeah, that's just a shame.
I felt like they were going to win yesterday just because it felt like that, okay, backs against the wall. Yeah, we're, us against the world. Nobody's believing in us anymore. It had the makings of like, okay, that's going to be a Boston win. But New York better win Game 6.
Oh, they had better win Game 6 in the Garden.
But don't get too cocky and get that thing done. Jeez. Then we get a 90s version of Knicks and Pacers for Eastern Conference. We better renew the Reggie Miller and Spike Lee rivalry for that series.
Spike Lee's still around. Reggie's not.
Well, Reggie might be calling one of those games.
Well, he might be calling more than one.
So we'll see. But what else you got on there?
That's about it.
That's all That's all you got over
there.
Well,
receiver to fur. Journalism is going to win the Preakness this Saturday after he got caught in the mud. I think that track cost him the Triple Crown.
Well, yeah. The Kentucky Derby winner's not in it. So
no, sovereignty.
And
the thing that bothers me is the trains. Well, he came out of the race. He came out and he's got a scratch on his and a scratch. I get a scratch and I still come to work. You come to work. I don't know. There's got to be more to it than a scratch.
Baseball pitchers go on injury lists with blisters, dude.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know that's
so,
a little different.
But it's definitely disappointing not having a horse with a chance to win the Triple Crown because it takes a lot of luster off. That's for sure.
It does. It does. By the way, do you the threesome with Rory? You know who's in that threesome, right? I mean, it's
I did see that.
Him, Scheffler, and Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
If anybody's there, just stick with that crew.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see some shots that are going to be and you wonder. I did see that. You wonder how much competition. You're only human. How much competition there is within those three guys that I want to like match play with those other two. Do you forget the rest of the field, and is that detrimental, or they not even pay attention to what the other two guys are doing? They just are within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the dynamic will be in that threesome. How I want the honor. How many times do you get the honor versus the other two? So how much of a dynamic will be of who has the better tournament first two rounds in those three, and whether or not I could care what the other two are doing. I'm got my eye on the scoreboard and what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. I think they're actually on the course right now. I'll have to double check it, but I think they are on the course because they have a morning tee time today and then afternoon tomorrow. So
hope the weather's good. I hope the weather, we don't have a lot of wind. We don't have a lot of rain. I hope, it's the players versus the golf course, because the people that set up the golf course can set it up plenty tough without Mother Nature playing a part in it. But it's an outdoor sport, so you got to deal with that too.
Mm-hmm. Koepka's already won over after 3. John Rahm's 1 under, tied for second through a couple holes. The leader's at 3 under through 6 right now. That's Ryan Fox. So,
yeah. Who I've never heard of.
Luke Donald. There's a big group of everybody tied for seconds. I'm not even going to go through all that right now because it's way early. It just teed off today, so a few hours ago, or not even a few hours, a couple hours ago. Hour ago. So
yeah, they're an hour ahead of us out there. So.
Yep. Have you haven't been to that course, have you?
No, I've never been to that course.
No. I thought I had one. I have too many tabs opened up right now. Maybe it'll come back to me, but my computer just kind of froze up right now. So there you have it. But all right, coming up next hour again, we'll talk with Jake. So last call for any outdoor questions for Mr. Bulks. You have to text them to us at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Whether it's maybe wrapping up turkey season for you, got fishing season also going on and such. So if you got any questions, send those on over so we can get those to Jake. I know, well, with the rain coming today, much needed. We had some yesterday in some areas, but still, it's really, really dry out there.
It is dry, so be careful. If you're out four-wheeling out in the woods or something, you're driving through these grassy fields that are brown, and you got a hot muffler on there or something like that. Be very, very careful, because fires can get away in a big hurry, and it's, as Dan said, it's dry. No, it's dry, so let's be smart out there.
Farmers planting yet?
Oh, you bet. Well underway. They're going to be pretty much wrapping it up here very soon. They'll be out there this morning doing more. We've got better than half the corn and half the beans in around the country, so around Wisconsin. So, yeah, we're 60 probably by now, 75% done around the country. We're well over half done in Wisconsin, but we got a lot more. That ground over there where you're from is heavy and wet, and it takes a while to dry that out. Up Medford, Clark County, going north of 29 up that way, Stetsonville, Dorchester, that's some heavy wet ground up there, so it takes a while to that dry. But this last few days of 80s and sunshine and some breezes have dried it out, and it's in good shape. You see dust, and it's dust on top. There's a little moisture down below, but it's getting dry. We could use some moisture. We get it in, and hopefully it's not a gully washer to wash everything out. That's the last thing we need, but you never know about Mother Nature.
Yeah, so be weather aware, especially with Thursday, with some high school sports going on, or even In our case, we've got Little League games tonight, so might want to double check the weather out there too. Speaking of which, Blue Gold softball, their first national, they're in the national tournament. First game today, 12:30. They're over in Indiana right now, so 12:30 is first pitch for the Blue Gold softball team. Best of luck as they go up against Baldwin Wallace University.
Where are they
So,
from?
Baldwin Wallace University. They are from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Ohio. So looks like, I mean, record wise, they're 31-4, 15-1 in conference play. So be a tough matchup. But
Yeah, and I don't know how good their conference is, but the Big Ten is pretty darn good.
I don't
Or
think
the
it's
big,
big. Yeah.
the WIAC, the
WIAC,
WIAC,
yeah.
excuse me, is
The Wisconsin
pretty
version
good.
of Big
Yeah,
Ten.
yeah,
So.
exactly. And because I'll tell you, you watch high school girls softball, and it's just getting better and better every year. These kids are really focusing in on pitching, and there are some really good young ladies on the mound in Wisconsin high school softball. And if you haven't seen girls softball, get out and watch it because it's a lot of fun. And then they come to the college level, and they're good. There's no question about it. They're getting better all the time. It's like watching girls volleyball. A few years ago, you didn't pay much attention. Now it's a mainstay on these campuses. The Blue Golds have a great team. The Badgers have a great team, and other state schools as well. So,
Chi High's got a program up there.
yeah.
McDonald.
So it's good. Yeah, Chi High's had a great softball program. Some of the smaller schools, Neelsville and Loyal, they've been outstanding. Arcadia has been outstanding. Over at Central Wisconsin, Auburndale, little Auburndale made it to the state tournament last year. They got one of the best pitchers in the state. She's only a sophomore. She only stands about 5'2", Megan Griesbach. And there are some great young pitchers out there. And they go on and they'll go to college and they're going to be pretty successful. So just look for women's softball at the high school and college level to get better every year. It just is fun to watch.
I know we had baseball, Eau Claire Memorial North wrapping up. Well, they had 2 days in a row, so they split that. But yesterday, the scoreboard, the new video board was in at Carson Park.
Oh,
so
good.
I know we're less than 2 weeks away from Express season, so probably getting a little nervous to make sure it was ready to go, but it looks like it's ready to go now.
I hope the Express has a good year, and I'm sure they'll probably have some players that are in the College World Series and take a while for them to get here. But it's a summertime baseball season. It's a great time
what
of the
summer
year.
is. It's baseball season, baby, right?
You bet. Baseball and
season.
golf and get outside and look for the wood ticks.
Well, apparently mosquitoes right now are a thing. I was thinking about going up to the land, but apparently it's really thick in mosquitoes.
Well,
so
if we get more rain, there'll be more of them.
Oh, yeah.
It's dry. I haven't seen mosquitoes yet, and I've heard about wood ticks, but be careful.
All right. About 10 seconds left. So we got the final hour coming up here. Don't forget, send us your thoughts. If you're just joining in, what's your reaction to the NFL schedule, the Packers schedule, or whoever your favorite team is? Anything? What stood out to you the most with that schedule? We'll throw in some Brewers chat as well, plus outdoor chat with Jake at 8:30. Again, final call for any questions that you may have for Mr. Bolks coming up here at 8:30. Quick break, and we'll be back here in just a couple minutes. Final hour on this Thursday morning, kicking off right now. A big thanks for tuning in on this May 15th. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with Jake Bilks, DNR Warden. Thank you to those of you who have sent over some questions. So we'll get those to Jake and get a little outdoor chat with him at the bottom of the hour here. We've been talking some baseball, plenty of baseball here this morning with the Brewers avoiding the sweep yesterday. They have the off day today before they'll take on the red-hot Minnesota Twins in a home series in Milwaukee this weekend. So also NFL schedule officially released yesterday. We've been going through that. What's kind of stood out to you? Anything really stand out to you when it's come to the NFL schedule? Again, if you haven't seen it, it's posted up all over the place. But just a quick rundown: home against Detroit, Thursday against Washington in week 2, away against Cleveland, at Dallas, bye week for week 5, home against Cincinnati, on the road against Arizona, on the road against Pittsburgh, home against Carolina, home against Philly, on the road against the Giants, home against Minnesota, on the road against Detroit, home against Chicago, on the road against Denver, on the road against Chicago, home against Baltimore, and then at Minnesota to wrap up the season. So that's your schedule. That clearly means 17-0, actually 20-0 when you factor in the preseason. So there you go, 20-0.
Well, I hope so. I hope you're right. But one of the games that scares me, it's kind of in there, is that home game against Baltimore later on with the history of the Packers running defense. And, with the Henry and some of the other boys, they're not Henry, but
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Yeah, some of the guys that run for Baltimore, and that they like to ground and pound. They're a physical team on both sides of the ball, so you better man up.
Especially cold weather. Nobody wants to tackle big bruising running backs in cold weather. I don't think they're going to be. I don't think Baltimore's going to be afraid to go to Lambeau Field for the final.
No, I don't think so either. Playing in Baltimore can be just like playing in Green Bay because they get some cold, nasty weather there too.
Definitely. So,
and that game being there, that could really be a tough one, right in the middle of all those games that are within the division. And then they're tough enough, and then you bring a team like Baltimore in, which is really, they're tough. They're always in the mix, and they're a physical team.
Yeah, not only Derrick Henry running, but then you get Lamar Jackson running around too. So it'll be, that one makes me nervous. That's when we were kind of talking about before the schedule release. I'm like, I'd almost want that one earlier in the season because they ain't going to be afraid to come when it's cold.
No, they won't be.
And we get that to the second to final week of the year. But yeah, you look at all those division games towards the end too. If Green Bay makes the postseason, they would have earned it. They would have earned it with a lot of tough games. What looks like tough games right now. I mean, things could change and such, but you're looking at, Chicago's under. I'm expecting Chicago to be better just by default.
Oh, the players they added both in the draft and free agency, they were aggressive. They were one of the most aggressive teams in the league, I think, this year, and adding and subtracting as well.
Because then you start with that Sunday, November 23rd game. Minnesota, playoff team. Detroit, playoff team. Chicago, I'm expecting to be better. Denver, playoff team. Chicago, again, Baltimore and Minnesota. That's a tough stretch to wrap up the season.
It really is. It's a tough schedule they've got. There's no question about it. And that's why I talked earlier about how important the preseason might be for Jordan Love. I don't think he can stand on the sidelines with a clipboard because I think he's still got a lot of improving to do. I think he can do it. I think he's got the talent and the ability. I think he's smart enough, but it'll be interesting to see what they do in the preseason, getting him on the field with this receiver core, especially with a couple of new guys that sure seem like they're going to be part of the offense.
Yeah. A couple of texts with reaction to the schedule release yesterday. Mike saying lots of division games in that back end. A lot of people, I won't go through all of them, but a lot of them talking about the early bye week for week 5 too. So it is early. I think every team would like to have it around that week 8, week 9 sort of thing. But I also feel like we're going to be at a point where we're like, hey, it actually worked out this year because there's probably going to be an injury to somebody where you hope not. You hope there's not a key injury, but odds are there might be something, or something kind of flaring up for somebody over there. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. So, I think you and I are in the minority about an early Thursday game. I'm glad to get it over with right away. Yes, they have a Thanksgiving one over there too, but the other Thursday game, I'm glad they're getting it done with in week 2, when you would think everybody's fresher at this point, and instead of doing it like, I'll just throw out a random week 12 or something, whatever, everybody's like banged up already and such. And I'd rather have it earlier on and get it over with while they're still fresher.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough nut. Vikings, then Detroit Thanksgiving, and then the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness the Vikings and the Bears will be at home. And the Thanksgiving Day game, I would assume Detroit usually has the early game.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Thanksgiving, so 11 o'clock. So you're done by the middle of the afternoon. You're going to be home in time for supper.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have your Thanksgiving dinner at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have to play on Sunday.
Yep.
So, hopefully they can stay healthy, and they're still in the mix, and they're going to be able to come out of that 3-game stretch 2-1 or 3-0.
Yeah.
That would be a big difference.
You talk about a team last year that really struggled against their division, easily could have been winless against their division.
Well, they gave that last.
Mm-hmm.
Then Malik Willis went brain dead against the Bears.
You could have went winless in that, and then you're talking about that stretch there against all division teams that easily could make or break what you're going to be doing what's going to be the whole season. So
yeah. But the thing is, Detroit's going to have a target on their back this year.
And I think
they're not sneaking up on anybody now.
No, and there is a question mark, I think, surrounding them too, because they've lost so much in terms of their coordinators. Their defensive coordinator, gone. He's the head coach of the Jets, Aaron Glenn. Their offensive coordinator, gone with Chicago. That, to me, is the biggest question mark, how the loss of Ben Johnson is going to affect Jared Goff. Because if it has a huge effect on Jared Goff, then that team is it's completely different.
Yeah, and you don't know if their head coach, is a tactician, and whether the defensive and offensive coordinators were the tacticians there, and the head coach just made these decisions like 4th and 1, we're going for it. How much he got involved in the actual nuts and bolts of the offense and defense, I don't know. But and you replace 2 coordinators, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Especially, I think Ben Johnson was a huge reason why that offense and Jared Goff has been playing incredibly well the last couple of years. So it's definitely going to be, I think a lot of us, in fact, everybody's curious to see how it's going to play out and if there's going to be a drop off or not.
I'm more curious about why Ben Johnson went to the Bears, what he saw in the Bears within that division, because he knows the Vikings are going to be good. Question mark at quarterback, of course. And I was surprised. I just quizzed myself thinking, what was it about the Bears that attracted him? Caleb Williams and guarantees that they're going to improve this team, and which they have. I mean, Romeo Dunze is a great receiver. They got some other improvements to that team that he might be sitting on a real squad this year.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what attracted him to it is a lot of young talent and such, and I think a very desperate franchise to win, to win. So, and money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The money. Yeah. But there's always the money nowadays. Mm-hmm. But I think this Bears team might be a sleeping giant in not only the division but in the whole league this year. Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be a really good quarterback, and they're putting some really nice people around him as far as talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought
not just at the skills position, but line too.
I thought they did exactly what a lot of teams should do when it comes to free agency and the offseason, invest in free agency, which they did with offensive linemen. Then that allows you to become flexible when it gets to the draft. And I thought the Bears did a fantastic job with that, and that pains me to say that.
Yeah, I think so, because, and why? All of a sudden, how'd the Bears figure this out? Because they've gone for years without being able to figure it out. And, of course, we don't know if they figured it out yet, what kind of performance they're going to have on the field. But it's sure pointing to the fact that they've improved that team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on paper, it sure looks like it. Now we'll actually see, and there'll probably be, I would imagine, maybe a little bit of adjustment because you do have a first-time head coach. Will there be that kind of adjustment period until he gets into a little bit of a groove and that's probably to be expected. We'll see. But
And is he changing the offense, or is he going to come in here and run the same offense that Caleb Williams is used to? What they're going to get done during these off-season workouts and during preseason, it'll be interesting to see, because I don't know what kind of an offense he's going to run.
I would probably assume it's going to be what he did with Detroit, but also at the same time, I think if you're a coach and you're a play caller, you have to build around with what you have to instead of trying to fit square pegs into round holes.
But I think he's got a lot better quarterback in Chicago than he had in Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing too. He might be able to do more. He might be able to do a little bit.
That's why I say I think they might be a sleeping giant. As hard as it is to say that the Bears, I don't know if they've turned the corner and they're going to start be competitive again. I don't know.
And with the Lions too, I think what will help for them is their new offensive coordinator is somebody they just promoted from within. Or actually he was their pass game, or he was Denver's pass game coordinator, but he was with Detroit in 2022. So a little bit of familiarity there. But, we'll see if he's going to bring a lot of that stuff or do a lot of the same stuff that Ben Johnson did. Is he going to put his own spin on it? I'm not quite sure. So it remains to be seen at this point. Like Jared Goff to me is the perfect example of you've got to build around what he can and can't do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I say Caleb Williams can do a whole lot more. Right. So I think their head coach can do a whole lot more. I guess maybe one of the biggest surprises to me in the offseason was, and if it was offered it, I don't know, why their head coach is still there and didn't go to Dallas, being a former Dallas player. And I'm sure he's proud of what he's built in Detroit and didn't.
Oh, you're talking about Dan Campbell?
Dan Campbell.
Oh.
And why if he was offered it, I don't know.
I didn't hear anything about that.
No, I kind of thought he would be going to Dallas, or at least we'd hear some rumblings, but I never heard any rumblings. I was just kind of surprised if he said to Jerry Jones, hands off, I don't want anything to do with it, so don't even put it in the media. I don't know. But I thought he'd get a little bit of attention would be on whether Dan Campbell would stay at Detroit or go to Dallas.
Oh, I'd never heard anything like that.
Yeah.
So, but because he did play for Detroit too for a couple of years.
Yeah, I know he did, but Dallas is a whole lot splashier franchise than Detroit.
Well, Dallas also has a lot of major issues though too. Is that really? I mean, they have got a bunch of issues going on. It starts with their GM /
I was going to say it starts with Jerry Jones.
It starts with him. I am really curious to see how Dallas does this year, what they do this year. Because I feel like the Schottenheimer hire as head coach was Jerry trying to prove to the world that he's smarter than everybody. Because then if they make the playoffs or something like that, he's going to be like, see, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking. That one, come on. I don't understand that.
No, I didn't. I thought he'd make a bigger splash than he did as far as hiring a head coach. And I think it goes back to the fact that if it wouldn't been for Jimmy Johnson, I don't think he'd have any Super Bowls.
No, I agree. I completely agree. And it goes back to the ego part of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to set your ego aside and put somebody and give authority to somebody who's pretty smart and pretty talented, or do you want all the glory? And I think we knew that answer.
Robert Kraft did it, and look what he's got, 7 trophies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you rather have 7 or 3 or whatever Dallas has? 4? I don't know what it is, but
under Jerry Jones, was it
just 2, 3?
Is it 3? Yeah.
Yeah, because 2 with Jimmy and 1 with Switzer, but that was Jerry's.
Yeah, it was still
Jimmy's
Jimmy
team.
Johnson's team.
So yeah, 3 with Jerry. So yeah,
which is more than most have.
Oh yeah,
but I think Jimmy Jones should get more credit than
100%.
Or Jimmy Johnson for more credit than Jerry Jones.
100%. I would absolutely agree with that. And I mean, you can tell there's that animal. I mean, look how long it took for Jerry to welcome Jimmy back. And it wasn't Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy was still rooting for the Cowboy. Every time we'd watch it on pregame, he was all about the Cowboys, for crying out loud. So, John says with Ben Johnson leaving for Chicago, we might now see the reason why the Rams traded Goff to the Lions. Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned this before. There was a really good podcast a couple of years ago, but it kind of explained why McVay and Jared Goff just weren't the great. Essentially what it boiled down to, Goff couldn't do what McVay wanted to do. And again, that's that square peg into a round hole sort of thing. And Ben Johnson was able to put Jared Goff in a position to be a successful quarterback in Detroit.
Yeah, there's some quarterback gurus out there, and
can you adapt to what you got?
Yeah, is that the most important, being the quarterback guru or your offensive system? If you get the right quarterback, and you can massage his play, and these guys are talented enough to play in a lot of different systems, but you've got to get that out of them, and that's what he did in Detroit with Jared Goff, no question. And Jared Goff is a good player. I wouldn't call him great.
No.
But I think he's very good.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
Oh, no.
No, not a Hall of Famer. Even if he wins a Super Bowl, I wouldn't say Hall of Famer.
No, because I think
he's like Eli Manning category, but not as many Super Bowls ish.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe a little bit lower than,
because I think I thought Detroit would go further than they did. I mean, they went to the playoffs, won some games, but I thought they
didn't win any this year. So.
No, but I mean, I thought they'd be better than they were.
I think a lot of people did.
Just kind of melted down in the playoffs, and that starts with your quarterback. And I mean, you can go back to the Super Bowl and look at Matt Ryan. Talk about a meltdown.
Okay, let's tell you what. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll do our outdoor chat with Jake here this morning. So, big thanks again to all of you who sent in some questions. If you have any more, you'll have to save them for next time. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
I love the way he balances the grocery cart on its back wheels every time we reach the dairy aisle.
It's never what you expect.
It's like clockwork. He looks so focused and serious while he's doing it.
It's rarely the same thing twice.
Like a kid practicing a trick he's been refining for months.
And it's always magical.
At Lasker Jewelers, we've started thousands of conversations with customers by asking,
"Tell me what you love about him."
The way he grins when he manages to hold it steady for a few seconds.
And once we know,
we can show
the perfect piece for him, he'll love. That's the Lasker way.
And for 100 years, it's made Lasker's the easiest place to shop for diamonds and jewelry in America.
My sister and I are humbled that people from around the world have come to our family's stores
to buy just the right one
for just the right one.
Now I understand it's his little ritual.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Liz.
Before you ask her,
Lasker.
This update is sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you.
Play Brewers Baseball Bingo presented by U.S. Cellular for the chance to win prizes all season long. Download the MLB Ballpark app from the App Store or Google Play to get in on the action.
Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
Get ready to save with half-off deals, a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love and you don't have to pay full price. Be sure to check out all the great savings that half-off deals have to offer. There's something for everyone, so be sure to see for yourself. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you.
Delta Dental is proud to sponsor Family Sundays at Helfair Field. Play catch on the field on Sundays from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. prior to Brewers' regular season home games. Admission is free.
Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
Hey, what Want to make your next meal a little less ordinary? Well, head to Quick Trip. Hey, we are so back serving up our legendary No Ordinary Chicken. Yeah, your dinner is hand-breaded, fried to perfection, ready to eat for tonight's dinner. Or you can buy it cold, sealed fresh for tomorrow's lunch. You know, we love to make life easier for you. This isn't just any chicken. It's Quick Trip's No Ordinary Chicken. Stop in your local Quick Trip today and taste the difference.
I think it's time we have the talk. 30 minutes, that's all it takes. Well, at least to update your website. With Websticks, you can buy blocks of time and use them when and how you need. Let's say you own a restaurant. With just one block of time, Websticks can update a menu item or add a phone number. Whew, I'm glad we finally had this talk. Find out more at websticks.com. That's websticks with an X.com.
Stunning sights, more clicks, web support from Websticks.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey, it's Cavino and Rich. And whether you're heading to the office, kicking back to watch the game, or enjoying a night on the town, Travis Matthew has you covered. They create versatile apparel designed to make you look and feel your best, wherever the day takes you.
From performance-driven styles to everyday essentials for both men and women, Travis Matthew bridges the gap between style and comfort. Ready to elevate your everyday? Visit travismatthew.com and get 20% off your first order when you sign up for email. That's travismatthew.com.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
Ready to upgrade your home? Well, then you need to start from the ground up with Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether it's carpet, vinyl, tile, or laminate, Carpet City Flooring Center has the perfect flooring to match your style and your budget. With one of the largest selections in the area and a knowledgeable team that's there to help, you'll find exactly what you need. Whether you're updating one room or doing a whole home makeover, or a whole home makeover, from selection to installation, Carpet City Flooring Center makes it simple. Their professional installers get the job done right and on time. And if you're not sure where to start, their in-store experts will guide you through every step. Locally owned and proud to serve the Eau Claire area, Carpet City Flooring Center is your trusted flooring partner. Stop on in today and see why more homeowners and contractors choose Carpet City Flooring Center. Better floors, bigger selection, best value. That's Carpet City Flooring Center. All right, let's do some outdoor chats with our buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes, who is joining us here this morning. Jake, how you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good.
Doing
Beautiful Thursday morning per usual. So no complaints. How about yourself?
Not bad, man. I'm keeping a little weather aware because we got some baseball and such, but I know we need it. We need that rain, too, because we had some wildfires going on here, not only in the state. Was it Juneau County? Was that 80-acre one down south?
Yeah. So a lot of wildfires. Even if we don't hear about them, there's a lot of forestry staff that are always putting out these fires each day. So it's really important to follow those burn requirements or no burn procedures, stuff like that. I actually ran down and worked that Toma one on Monday night, and it definitely was spreading fast, but the forestry staff and the volunteer firefighters did a really good job getting some ground on it and containing it quickly before it made it to the town of Mather.
So with that too, it's probably a good reminder to check, Jake, banning burns or banning of permits and statuses and that, because I got to imagine, last weekend too, I saw, especially in the news, where you had some like fire danger alerts and super high fire
Right.
danger alerts.
Yeah, no, there's been like red flag warnings. A lot of our, I think most of our phones are, if you have like the Weather Channel and stuff, it tells us. So if if you see those alerts, if you see the smoky sign with high fire dangers and stuff, just play it safe and don't burn.
Yeah, definitely. So, should we get to some questions from some
Yeah.
listeners here, Jake? So this one was
Sure.
actually from a couple weeks ago. So I apologize if that listener's still listening, and I'm not ignoring you. That was my fault. I forgot to ask Jake last time you were on here. But we had a texter that asked, "Are there any steps being done to ban the live scope?" First of all, can you maybe explain, because it's for a fishing thing? Explain maybe to listeners what the live scope is before answering that question.
Yeah, so live scope is basically like a forward-facing sonar. So we're all familiar with, like ice fishing machines where you can kind of look down and catch fish using your garments and whatnot. But the live scope Live Scope's just a brand. It's more called forward-facing sonar, and it kind of shows you fish that are further around the boat, or you can kind of pinpoint where fish are under the water. The whole reason there's some hubbub about it is because a couple years ago, it was like a spring hearing question about banning it. And the short answer when it comes to Live Scope and different forward-facing sonars is that the DNR doesn't necessarily regulate equipment. The DNR, especially the fishery staff, they use science and their biology and their netting and trapping and all the kind of statistics to create bag limits and possession limits that protect the species. So the DNR is not usually in the world of restricting gear. There's obviously some laws and some regulations, but as far as that I'm aware of, there's no discussion on any sort of forward-facing laws from the DNR specifically, because we manage those through daily bags and possessions, like I mentioned, size restrictions, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Another question. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that doesn't mean that you won't see discussion on it, online, or you might hear different legislators talk about creating bills to ban it or to enhance it, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to the DNR, we don't generally get involved in that type of regulation development.
Gotcha. Good point. Another question. This was from John a little bit earlier. I got a question for Jake. A couple weeks ago, somebody hit a deer and it was laying at the end of my driveway. Is there somebody that I call to come and take care of that deer?
So sometimes there's someone that you can call and take care of it. So the DNR doesn't have like a deer pickup program or anything like that. When a deer dies on somebody's property, basically it's up to them to do whatever they want with it. It's nature. It's just like if a bird dies or a mole dies or whatever, something's dead on your property, as a private landowner, it's kind of your responsibility to clean it up. Whether it's just to leave it there, bury it in the woods, bring it to a dumpster, you can do whatever you want with it, but it's usually the landowner that needs to take care of it. Some cities, like the city of Eau Claire, they do have programs where if you call and report that there's a dead deer and drag it to the curb, they'll come pick it up.
Okay.
I know some townships might do that. I know the city of Eau Claire does it. You just have to call and report it to them and drag it out to the street, so it's easy for them to get it. So if you do have one, I would just call whatever your local municipality is. If you live in, say, the town of Washington, call the township. If you live in the city, or if you live way out in the county somewhere, try to figure out if they have a local program to pick it up. But the state won't come and pick it up.
So would it still because I know we've talked a lot about this with roadkill, Jake, and whether you want to make like the antlers and such, even if it's on your property, would those other rules that we've talked about before, where you still got to call the DNR, still be in play?
Yeah. So say a deer, if a deer gets hit next to your property, it's still a car-killed deer, so you can take that for free. You just have to call in and register it. If it's there's obviously no deer with antlers now. So let's say it's the fall and a deer shows up dead in your yard. If you don't know how it died or who shot it or anything like that, but you want to keep the deer, you want to, salvage the meat, or you want to keep the antlers, then you have to call the DNR or call a game warden, and we'll get you a tag for it. We have to legally sell it back, but we generally sell it back as cheap as we can, which is like $10 or so.
Okay.
If we can salvage that deer and put it to good use.
Gotcha. All right. Hey, I know fishing season's well underway here, and I know, just for some dates and such, next weekend it's the Muskie Northern Zone opens up and such. But from your side of things, how has the fishing season been going from your side of the desk?
It seems like it's going pretty good. I mean, anytime I'm out there, I always talk to some people that say the fish aren't biting, and then they have no fish, and then I run into another boat where they're doing pretty good. So sometimes it's just the spot on the lake or the equipment you're using, but overall I'd say most people, they're going out, they're catching some fish, they're having a good time. So definitely, I would say good, at least from what I'm seeing, a good start to the fishing season.
I think I've asked you this before, but I was just popped up on my feed again the other day. And since we're talking about fishing, is it legal to bow fish in Wisconsin, Jake?
It is legal to bow fish, but it's certain species like rough fish, and then certain areas allow it. Some spots, some communities don't allow it based off ordinances and such. So the best thing to do, again, here's my regulation speech of the Thursday, is just make sure to find. There's a separate regulations than just our fishing one. There's one that's called like spearing, netting, and baiting or something like that. And you can look in there, and it talks a lot about bow fishing and stuff like that. But it's definitely allowed. People do it, for carp and different things. It's just there's some spots, and you can't do it for like game fish and different things like that.
Gotcha. Okay, and then I know spring turkey hunting is starting to wrap up here. Just a couple more weeks here, but maybe the weather with the cold front moving on. Maybe if you got a tag for this upcoming weekend, maybe a little bit better, possibly.
Yeah, I would definitely say I've been out recently, and they're still out moving. I actually just, as we're talking, I see two of them all fanned up out in the field here. So,
well, tell me where, because I got a tag for this weekend, Jake. So I got to go get one there.
Go somewhere north of Cadott, and you'll find them.
Perfect.
So,
all right.
No, I was driving up from the academy earlier this week on 94, and it seems like all the way from Toma to Eau Claire at dusk, it seemed like every field. I know that's an over-exaggeration, but it seemed like almost every field had turkeys in it. So they're still out there. They're still moving. They're still grooving. Yeah, you're right. We still got about 2 weeks here, and there's opportunities if you want them.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So is that kind of, what you're focusing on right now in your world is, the opener of fishing is underway and just kind of wrapping up the turkey season here?
Yeah, kind of wrapping up the turkey season. Still checking guys out on that, doing any follow-up complaints that come with that. Fishing is big. This weekend, actually, well, maybe not even this weekend. What's the date today? Today, a lot of the ATV trails actually open. So
okay.
Today, Eau Claire, Clark, and Jackson for sure are open May 15th. So that's going to generate some more work for us and kind of transition to our summer patrolling with a bunch of trail openings and campgrounds starting to fill up and stuff like that.
So good reminder, make sure those registrations are up to date for your ATVs.
Registrations up to date, and everyone under 18 wearing a helmet.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
So, big deal.
Well, Jake, we appreciate the time as always, buddy. Thanks for answering our listener questions. Be safe.
Yeah.
Enjoy the weather for a little bit here, and hopefully the rain can kind of tone down some of these wildfires that we're having too. So
right, we just need a good soaker.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it might be severe, but let's just hope for a good soaker rain tonight, and then it'll cool down, and we'll see how the rest of May goes here.
Absolutely.
But, no, I appreciate you having me on. It's always a good way to start my Thursdays.
Well, we'll catch up with you before, believe it or not, Memorial Day weekend already coming up here. So I know it's going to be a big one for a lot of people. So, all right, bud, we'll catch up with you soon, okay?
Yep, talk to you later.
You got it. Jake Boakes, outdoor warden for the great state of Wisconsin, joining us here. We'll take our final break here this morning and wrap it up with some picks and any final thoughts. That's coming up after these quick words.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
A lot of folks around here are breathing easier because of Grace Home Respiratory. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory is a local company that puts customer service first. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory provides an array of medical equipment, services, and supplies to help their recovery and enhance their quality of life. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory has the experience and qualifications that exceed their expectations. So when you need home medical equipment and services, turn to Grace Home Respiratory not only for the equipment you need, but for their dedicated staff of respiratory therapists who are on call 24 hours a day. To find out more, call Grace Home Respiratory at 715-832-7377 or online at ghr-ec.com.
Grace Home Respiratory always has your health and safety as their top priority. Your expert when it comes to medical equipment and supplies. Choose Grace Home Respiratory.
When it comes to firearms, ammo, and expert service, there's one name that you could trust in the Chippewa Valley, and that's Tilden Gun. Whether you're a seasoned hunter, a weekend shooter, or just getting started, Tilden Gun has what you need, from top brands and rifles, shotguns, and handguns to a full line of ammunition and accessories. They've got you covered. You're looking to buy, sell, or trade? Well, hey, Tilden Gun makes it easy with fair pricing and honest advice. And if you're in the market for your first time firearm or just need some guidance, their knowledgeable staff is always ready to help. Located just outside of Chippewa Falls, it's worth the short drive to get real service from real people. Tilden Gun is where quality, trust, and experience come standard. So stop on in today and see the difference at 12427 90th Avenue in Chippewa Falls. That's 12427 90th Avenue in Chippewa Falls. Or visit them online at tildengun.com. Are you looking for great food, cold drinks, and a welcoming atmosphere? Then get on over to the VFW Post 305. They offer amazing menu items from breakfast to their famous fish fry and a full bar with a friendly staff. Plus, you can enjoy weekly events and live music performances. And it's that perfect time of year to enjoy that view of Dell's Pond from the VFW Post 305. So what are you waiting for? I'll see you at the VFW Post 305 located on Star Avenue.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
11104 Madison, CordellCordell.com.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code RADIO and get an extra 5% off.
More than the scores. More than the news. It's Sports Out the Squeaker. The Dan Kasper Show.
For over 40 years, Post Glass and Mirror has been Chippewa Falls' trusted name in glass services. Whether you're updating your bathroom with a custom shower enclosure, replacing a windshield, or enhancing your business storefront, their skilled team delivers quality and precision. Family-owned company, they pride themselves on fast turnaround times and personalized service. Just give them a call at 715-723-8676, or you can visit postglassandmirror.com to learn more. Let's do some picks as we start to wrap up this morning here. We'll start off PGA Championship. Who are you picking to win the PGA Championship?
I'm kind of rooting for Jordan Spieth, but I don't know if I'm picking him. I'd say the winner is going to come out of that threesome of Rory, Scotty, and Xander.
Okay.
I think the winner is going to come out of there. Who it will be, I don't know. I guess the bigger question is how many live golfers will finish in the top 10.
Oh, John Rahm's in the top 10 right now for sure. So,
Yeah, because half the field isn't on the course yet.
Xander Schauffele's 1 under. Rory's +1. Brooks Koepka is even. I don't see Scheffler yet, but that doesn't mean anything. So he's somewhere on here. But I'm gonna go JT. I'll go Justin Thomas. So
Yeah, he's playing a lot better golf.
Phil Mickelson's already 2 over. So man, what a fall for that guy.
Well, not only in his play, but
Or,
also
yeah,
in his
just
public
his-
persona.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yep.
lost so much. It's unbelievable. He's kind of an outcast in the golf world right now.
Actually, Rory. Okay, so I misspoke. Rory's at even. I was looking at McIntyre, not Rory McIlroy. Roy's even. Scheffler's even, and then yeah, Xander's 1 under right now. So, okay, let's do some NBA picks coming up here. We got Denver and OKC on the docket here. Can OKC wrap this thing up and punch their ticket to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals, or is Denver going to force a Game 7?
I think this has been the best series to watch of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Oklahoma City's going to win. I mean, Jokic can be unbelievable, but Gordon is a great player, a little inconsistent. Michael Porter Jr. is really a good player, but a little inconsistent. I think Oklahoma City is going to win. I think they're learning more about the playoffs with every game. Chet Holmgren is getting a little tougher. SGA is getting a little better. I think Oklahoma City is going to close it out.
I'm going to go OKC too. I'm going to go Oklahoma City Thunder. We only got a few games for baseball today. Washington Nationals taking on the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta.
I'll take Atlanta. I don't know if Washington's very good this year.
I'll go Braves too. Does Minnesota extend their winning streak to 11 in their series finale with Baltimore?
That's been a good series because they're in Baltimore.
Yep.
I'm going to say, yeah, why not? Let's bring them in here on a big hot streak, and then hopefully the Brewers can send them home with their tail between their legs.
I think I'm going to go with the Twins as well. I know Chad Paddock's on the mound, who's been 4-6. Although, you know what? No, I'm going to go Baltimore. They're Sagano, their pitcher, 4-2 with a 2.72 ERA. I'll go Baltimore.
I'll stay with the Twins.
Let's go White Sox versus the Reds.
White Sox played the Express. I think I'll take the Express.
White Sox, though, ever since the Pope, 5-1.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, they got a little intervention there that's kind of unfair. Well, I'll tell you, that put a lot of Cubs fans' tail between their legs.
Yeah, good.
He's a Cubs fan. He's a Cubs fan. Then they talked to his brother and said, no, he's not. He's a White Sox fan.
And then
they
there's
had
video
a
of
picture,
him. Yeah.
at the
World Series.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I saw that. I thought that was really neat. I mean, it's hard, when you follow the popes, and I'm Catholic, and so I follow the popes all through my life, and they were kind of like mystery men.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got a guy that grew up on the south side of Chicago. He's been to Major League Baseball games. He's done things that you and I have done that the rest of them haven't done. And so this is really, it's hard for me to wrap my head around this guy.
Is actually a
being
human
the Pope.
being.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it, that he had a life and he's a baseball fan. He understands it. And I think it's kind of neat.
Has a favorite pizza joint.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I don't know if they might ship pizza all the way to Rome for him from Chicago. I don't know. But, just think and I spent a lot of time in Chicago, and, Marty Green, our buddy Marty Green, you might have walked in the same streets or been in the same restaurants as the Pope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't say that about any other Pope. So this is really getting comfortable with this situation, but I think it's really neat.
4-1, not 5-1, but 4-1.
Well, that's still probably the best run they've had in 5 games all season so far.
Probably. So I did see somebody, was this a couple days ago? I think he signed a baseball. Yeah, he did. There's a picture of this. Signed a baseball for somebody.
Yeah, I'll know that he's and he'll never do it, at least in public. He might in private or whatever. If they send him, Sox uniform with Leo the 14th on the back for a name and a cap, and if he'd ever wear it.
Yeah.
You know, he's still a holy man. And that's why I say, you know, you don't associate the Pope with going to a soccer game or a football game. That's, I don't know if I say it's beneath them, but it's not in their repertoire of activities. And so, well, you know, I don't know if he'd ever come to Chicago and throw out the first pitch or not. You know, I'd just be interesting. So, but it's kind of a fun change.
So apparently this guy, he's a 46-year-old attorney out of Colorado, I think. But yeah, he had a baseball and was hoping for the Pope to sign it. And apparently the Pope asked White Sox or Cubs. And so the guy said White Sox. And then he signed it, Leon PP 14. So, yeah.
How much is that ball worth? Because he's not going to sign a lot of base. This isn't like,
right.
You know, it's a card show where you come in and get caps and shirts and everything else signed. How much is that baseball going to be worth? And I hope that guy doesn't commercialize it. I hope he
Me too.
keeps it. I hope he puts it in the Hall of Fame. It belongs in the Hall of Fame.
That would be cool.
It really does belong in the Hall of Fame with the Pope and his vestments and picture of him at the World Series. You know, that's what I hope that he wouldn't. And why he signed that ball, I don't know. But you know, and how?
But again, he's just he's human.
Yeah, he's got two brothers that still live in Chicago, and they still call him Bob.
Yeah,
you know, and
they play words with friends and Wordle and all.
Yeah, it's just hard to wrap your mind around. It really is.
Yep. But yeah, White Sox, they've got. Hopefully, it doesn't help Bears though. In the fall, just saying. Hopefully, he's not a Bears fan.
Oh, I'm sure he's a Bears fan. You know, you got to be from that part of Chicago.
You can help out the White Sox. That's fine. Just end it there. You know, end it there. They don't need extra help. So,
but there's an awful lot right away. He's a Cubs fan. I don't know where they were.
I think Wrigley even put it on their
they
board.
Did. Yeah, we have a Pope and he's a Cubs fan. You know, they put it on their outside
marquee
outside the stadium there. But I don't know where they got that, but
probably
he's a
just
Sox
assumed.
Fan.
So
yeah, he's a Sox fan. I can't believe he signed that ball.
Yeah,
I'd have sent him one if I thought he'd have done
that. Tampa or Toronto?
Oh, those are two teams that I have really no idea. I'm going to go with Toronto just because of Vlad.
I'll go Toronto as well. Just two more. We got Astros, Rangers.
Who's pitching for the Rangers?
For the Rangers is Jacob deGrom.
I'll take Jacob deGrom because they say he's coming back.
I'm going to go Rangers too, and then Athletics, Dodgers for our final one.
Oh, I think I might take the Dodgers in that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Dodgers too. So, all right, those are our picks for this morning. Or do you want to do the Preakness one? You went journalist. Yeah,
journalism. I'm taking Sandman. Receiver to fur. We already know who the most valuable players are in the National American League. I mean, it's going to be Ohtani and Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is the clear-cut favorite in the American League.
And Ohtani, he's hitting home runs again.
Yeah, I mean.
And if he comes back to pitch, it's a done deal.
Yeah, Judge, I mean, just what he's doing is just unbelievable right now. It really is.
But I'm thinking back in baseball, you know, and obviously baseball has a lot of history, but has there ever been a period where there have been two guys that have been so dominant, headline makers? Because you look at in the league, who else is there? In National League, in the American League, who else is there? These two guys are head and shoulders above everybody. And there are a lot of great players in both leagues.
And I think baseball should be pretty pumped about it since it's Yankees-Dodgers that these two guys are on too. And one of them's an international star.
Yeah, and the Dodgers
Ohtani.
World Series and won the World Series. The Yankees are trying to get back, but I don't remember a time where because when I was a kid, you had Aaron, Stan Musial, you had Willie Mays, you had all kind of, even guys like Willie McCovey, and some of those guys were Willie Stargell, Roberto Clemente were most valuable players. But now you have this situation where these two guys are dominating the headlines and dominating the game pretty much too. I'm trying to think of, as I said, there are a lot of other great players.
Right.
But this is an era where they don't line up like they did before.
Right. Yeah, I gave Hudson a hard time when he picked the same MVPs for our preseason picks. I'm like, no, well, he's a smart one again. So
I was going to say the kid knows his way around.
He's got that one figured out already. So son of a gun. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, I know they did an informal one already on MLB.com, and it was unanimous for Judge. I think Ohtani was still leading the National League. But yeah, it's, gosh, how do you not give it to him?
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer at this point because Judge just keeps hitting, and he's getting to be a better hitter, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of vulnerable to certain pitches, but now he's learning how to hit anything they throw at him.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, I think, what a lot of people were wondering with no Soto there, how would Judge, with protection within the lineup and such. But, I mean,
they got some other guys that are stepping up, though.
Yeah.
The Yankees do.
Paul Goldschmidt's hitting 346 for crying out loud this year. I mean, that's how well Judge is doing. Nobody's really talking about Goldschmidt. He's hitting 346. It's because Judge is 412.
How much do you think that's helping Goldschmidt? Because he was fading at St. Louis, and now he goes to New York. And even Bellinger, although I think Bellinger's out now, isn't he hurt? And he goes to New York, and he's kind of starting out the season pretty well after not being all that great with the Cubs.
Yeah, and Paul Goldschmidt's got 902 OPS as well. So yeah, what a boost for him it's been this year, man.
Well, the pressure's off him because everybody said, well, he's on the declining side of his career. He's coming in there, and you got Aaron Judge is going to get all the headlines. But still in all, St. Louis is doing really well too. They've got a long winning streak, or had a long winning streak. They were won about 8 games. Arenado is doing well.
5-1 right now, I think.
Are they?
Yeah, in their last 6.
Yeah, and they've been playing a lot better.
And former Brewer Trent Grisham is doing well with the Yankees too. 12 home runs.
Yes, I saw that.
12 home runs. So yeah, that's
a lot of times it depends on where you're at.
Oh yeah.
What kind of protection you got in the line. That's why I say for the Brewers, who do they protect? Nobody. You got to go up there on your own because they're not going to pitch around you. Maybe that's one thing that is a benefit. They're coming after you. They're going to throw strikes. They're not going to, hopefully you fish. And if you get on, well, giving you a single or a walk is better than giving you a double or a home run. But that does make a difference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So should be a fun series, though, with the Twinnies this weekend. I'm glad they're actually doing these on weekend series instead of those when they were doing them like on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, 2-game things and that, because I'm planning on taking Hudson when they're over in Minnesota. That's going to be a weekend series, so it should be fun to go over there. I'm just glad they're actually doing it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful stadium, and hopefully the weather stays nice.
And it's a Saturday day game in June.
Oh, that's
even better.
Fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball is a game to be played in the daytime. I mean, lights are wonderful, but it's, and you got to have lights and you got to have evening games for the fans that work. But still, when baseball was a day game, it was different.
Yep. So definitely looking forward to that. But it is cool that it's not those random in the middle of the week 2-game series that we've been seeing in the last few years. So I'll be curious to see what the fans is it going to be a good contingency of Twins fans down in Milwaukee, or is it too far down?
I don't know if they'll. Twins fans are different than Cubs fans or Cardinals fans. They're not all over the country like Cubs and Cardinals fans are. Twins fans are, from the Twin Cities west, and you go out in the Dakotas and you get down into Iowa and all the way out into Montana. There are a lot of Twins fans and Viking fans out that way. A lot of them, Southern Iowa will pick up Kansas City, but there's a lot of Twins fans out, even to Nebraska and places like that. So it's off to the west more than it is off to the east or the south. So I don't think you'll see some, obviously you always do, but not like Cubs or Cardinal fans.
Yeah. So, but it'll be interesting to see what, hopefully it's a nice Brewers contingency down there, because boy, they need any help they can get right now.
Yeah, they do. They just, and that's why I say, you really point the finger at the Brewers management for not doing more to put bats in that lineup. And it's hurt. They'd have went after a bat or two. I think they'd be 3, 4, 5, 6 games better than they are right now.
Yeah, especially when you consider some of those losses. A lot of those losses have been by 1 run.
Well, you get 2-0, and so who was pitching? Who cares who's pitching? Warren Spahn was pitching. You don't win a game if your team doesn't score a run.
Right.
And so it's not the pitching, it's the hitting and the defense.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, but we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. We've got Brandon joining us, so we'll do some local sports roundup. Best of luck to Blue Gold softball again. Just a couple hours from now, game 1 for their national tournament run. So best of luck to, I think it is double elimination national tournament too. So, which is a little bit different from the WIAC, because the WIAC is single elimination, but now national tournament's double elim. But best of luck. I know they've got the championship pedigree with Coach Huntington and Coach Baker and such over there. So hopefully we can bring back some more hardware from the national tournament. So
it would be nice. And I think, they're going to have a lot of success recruiting now with the Sonentag Center.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can play all year round.
Yep.
And you can not just, you can play catch in the dorm, but you can play catch on the field. You can run the bases. You can hit. You can pitch. You can do some things. And I think that's going to make a big difference. Basketball, women's softball, I think good things and better things are even ahead because of the Sonentag Center.
So our final episode of the Rolling with the Golds podcast is up now, but part of it is Robin Baker. And I mentioned, Sonentag and softball. And she said there was only one game that got canceled or postponed or something, and it wasn't because them was Superior with the snow up there, but just from a scheduling standpoint, to not have to be stressed out about trying to figure out games and getting played and all that is a huge bonus too. So
there's no question about it. It's a lot better facility for softball than it is for a Bob Dylan concert.
Oh, all right. So,
anybody was there knows what I'm talking about.
All right, DP Danettes are up next. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Again, Brandon will be with us tomorrow. We'll do some local sports roundup with him, and then we'll catch up with Dr. Crow. Plenty to talk about with injuries-wise with Dr. Crow, no question about it. Have a good rest of your day. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. See you then.